Chapter 4484. The white-robed figure frowned when he saw that the holy King Manling had fallen. Is that holy venerate really that powerful? His expression turned grave. He realized that the holy King Manling's body had been completely shattered. Obviously, it was the result of a close combat battle. That kid's physique is even stronger than the holy King Manling's. However, the white-robed figure did not retreat. Instead, he said, "Interesting. Manling, I'll avenge you." He turned into a beam of sword light and disappeared into the void. At night, the stars shone brightly and the moon hung high in the sky, making the ground extremely bright. Lin Xian sat cross-legged in the forest, absorbing the power of heaven and earth to cultivate. 3 days have passed. Haven't the people of Ethereal Peak found me yet? Thinking of this, he shook his head slightly and took out the map. At this moment, the light on the map shone even brighter. Lin Xian held the map and carefully sensed it. He felt that there was something summoning him in a certain direction. Suddenly, his eyes flashed and he put away the map. In the next moment, he retreated backward. The array around him was broken, and a beam of light shot towards where he was originally at like lightning. It slashed that place into nothingness. Lin Xian had already come to the side. He focused his gaze and realized that the lightning was a flying sword. It was the size of a palm and emitted a cold light. Sword-wielding technique. He frowned slightly. "That's right. You know quite a lot." A figure descended from the sky and said coldly. It was a white-robed figure. 2 flying swords circled around him. At the same time, the flying sword from before also flew back to his side. The 3 flying swords kept circling around him. He was like a sword god, descending forcefully. "You must be Lin Xian. I didn't expect you to be able to kill the holy King Manling. But unfortunately you met me. Remember, my name is the Flying Sword Holy King. Don't forget my name when you report to the King of Hell." With a wave of his hand, the 3 flying swords instantly flew over, piercing through everything with an unparalleled aura. Boom! 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 Lin Xian struck 3 consecutive palms on the flying swords. The flying swords trembled and were deflected, piercing through the mountains beside him. Hundreds of mountains collapsed instantly. On the other hand, Lin Xian's body glowed with radiance. Similarly, the 10 ultimate swords appeared in his hands. "Since you're a swordsman, I'll use my sword skills to finish you off." Endless sword chi rushed out of Lin Xian's body and swept out in all directions. It was like a green lotus blooming, enveloping the entire world. "You want to compete with me in swordsmanship?" He was overestimating himself. The flying sword Saint King smiled. His grade 3 flying sword was an extremely powerful sacred artifact. Furthermore, it had been by his side since he was young and had been nurtured. It could be said that it was even more nimble than his arms. Furthermore, those 3 flying swords were capable of slicing through the body of a sacred king, barbarian spirit. In other words, no matter how strong the other party's physique was, he was confident that he could break through it. The 3 flying swords tore through the void like golden lightning and shot towards Lin Xian's 3 vital points. Lin Xian's expression was cold as he displayed the 10 extinction swords. The great dragon sword spirit in his body circulated. 9 suns opened the sky. The sword slashed down and collided with the 3 flying swords. With a cracking sound, the 3 flying swords were sent flying by the sword. The sword chi did not stop and continued to descend. How was this possible? The flying sword Saint King's pupils shrank. He wanted to escape, but it was too late. After the sword slashed, his soul was destroyed. Even in death, he could not believe that Lin Xian had killed him with a single sword slash. With a wave of his hand, another storage ring flew back to him. These Ethereal Peak experts had many treasures in their storage rings. Lin Xian was very satisfied. At the same time, he looked around and stared at the 3 flying swords. They could withstand the 9 suns, splitting the sky without shattering. It seemed that they were made of special materials. He reached out his hand and formed a golden cloud to grab the 3 flying swords. The flying swords resisted, and sword qi rushed into the sky. However, Lin Xian suppressed them and activated his heavenly secret divine eye to erase the soul imprint on them. Lin Xian threw them into the storage ring. He continued on his journey. This time, he flew for 2 days before stopping. Then he took out the great sage pagoda, and 2 figures fell out from it. They were Yan Hua and Yan Kuei. As soon as they appeared, they roared crazily, "Damn brat, you crippled us. You're dead meat. Our patriarch will not let you off." Lin Xian slapped them twice. Their faces were smashed, and they did not dare to speak again. However, Lin Xian's gaze swept across the area. Soon he found a place. It was a small hill. It was very desolate, and there were not many plants on it. There were also some monsters around. They had already escaped. Lin Xian flew there and nodded. He was very satisfied. "From now on, the 2 of you will stay here." "What do you mean?" Yan Hua and Yan Kuei asked in horror. Lin Xian waved his hand and directly pierced the ground beside the small hill, forming a deep abyss. He said that he would suppress the 2 of them here for 3,000 years. "No, you can't do this." The 2 of them roared crazily. They were really afraid. If Lin Xian wanted to kill them, their patriarch would probably know and come to rescue them. However, if Lin Xian suppressed them here, no one would know about it. 3,000 years. Just thinking about it made them want to die. They might as well kill him with a single sword strike. The 2 of them struggled and wanted to beg for mercy, but they were slapped into the abyss by Lin Xian. Then the ground shattered. Lin Xian cast an array formation and directly sealed the place. He looked into the distance and pierced through the void. He thought that the 3rd person should be arriving soon. His body rose into the air. Behind him, a figure with a murderous look flashed past quickly. He had locked onto him. The corners of that person's mouth curled up into a cold smile. However, in the next moment he frowned. "Are you trying to escape?" He sped up and chased after him. After chasing for half a day, he finally arrived above a lake. The lake was like the sea, and it even carried an extremely cold aura. "Is this the place you chose to die?" The 3rd figure descended. It was a burly man with a face full of beard. His expression was cold. He waved his hand and took out a large cauldron. The large cauldron was simple and unadorned. It was square in shape, and there were the faces of monsters on all 4 sides. It was actually the weapon of a saint king. After the burly man arrived, he immediately attacked without saying anything. The 4 beasts' cauldron instantly enlarged and pressed down like a demonic mountain. The ground below kept breaking open, unable to withstand the aura of the Saint King at all. This weapon was even more terrifying than the flying sword from before. Looking at the descending 4-beast cauldron, Lin Xian let out a long roar and slammed his palm into the sky. With a clang, his palm hit the 4-beast cauldron, and the large cauldron kept shaking. The burly man's body trembled. What a terrifying power! He shouted coldly and formed a seal with his palms. The 4-beast cauldron was as stable as Mount Tai as it pressed down again. Countless rays of light appeared, piercing through the void like sharp swords. Lin Xian's body wobbled as he was hit by those powers. He was forced to retreat continuously. However, those attacks only left some marks on his body. They were unable to break his body at all. So powerful, the burly man was stunned. This is the weapon of a Saint King, but it can't break through his body? Chapter 4485. Buzz. Lin Xian kept waving the 9-yang divine palm. It was like thousands of suns breaking through the void. He fought with the Saint King's weapon with his bare hands. After a series of battles, the burly man's face was pale. Using the Saint King's weapon consumed a lot of energy, but he realized that his opponent's divine power was like the sea. He swallowed 2 pills and gritted his teeth. He was really angry. He held the cauldron with one hand and charged forward. For demonic beast phantoms appeared on the cauldron. They bared their fangs and brandished their claws, wanting to devour Lin Xian's soul. Dragon-shaped sword Qi rushed out of Lin Xian's body and slashed at the demonic beast phantoms. The 4 demonic beast phantoms let out mournful roars. He fled again and hid in the cauldron. Let me show you what a true saint artifact is. Lin Xian took out the great destruction spear. A terrifying demonic aura surged in all directions. The burly man gasped. It was so terrifying. It felt much more terrifying than his 4-beast cauldron. This guy actually had a saint artifact too. He quickly retreated and distanced himself. However, the great destruction spear attacked. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The burly man could only hide in the 4-beast cauldron and defend. The void outside was completely torn apart and turned into nothingness. Only a huge cauldron floated between heaven and earth. Lin Xian snorted coldly and flew up. He clenched his hand into a fist and threw out tens of thousands of punches. Each punch landed on the 4-beast cauldron. The 4-beast cauldron kept shaking. If it wasn't a saint artifact, it would have been broken long ago. Even so, it was still beaten by Lin Xian until it was dim and dull and trembled nonstop. After an unknown number of punches, Lin Xian finally stopped. The surrounding void was still shattering. The 4-beast cauldron in front of him was completely motionless. There was no movement inside. Lin Xian walked forward and looked inside. He found that the burly man hiding inside had long been torn apart and turned into a bloody mist. Although the 4-beast cauldron was a Saint King's weapon, it blocked Lin Xian's punches and did not shatter. However, Lin Xian's strength was so great that some of them still managed to enter. In addition to the continuous attacks, the burly man inside finally couldn't take it anymore and was killed by the force. Lin Xian took the 4-beasts cauldron and entered the Great Sage Tower. He wanted to refine this Sage King weapon with all his might. Lin Xian first used the Great Dragon Sword Spirit to destroy the remnant soul. Logically speaking, it was impossible to refine a Sage King's item. However, Lin Xian could easily destroy the soul imprint on it. Lin Xian used his heaven-level ability to plant his soul imprint. He felt a connection between himself and the 4-beast cauldron. With a wave of his hand, the souls of the 4 beasts flew out and roared toward the sky. The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up. This was even more terrifying than the 3 flying swords. Although it wasn't as powerful as the Great Destruction Spear, it was still a Saint King's weapon. It could be considered one of his trump cards. Lin Xian checked the storage rings of a few people and found that there were indeed many spiritual herbs, natural treasures, and dragon marrow inside. After sorting these things out, Lin Xian continued to provide the Great Dragon Sword Spirit with power. At this moment, a map suddenly flew out of the storage ring and bloomed with a bright light. Countless runes appeared on it and intertwined to form a mark. Lin Xian's eyes lit up when he saw this place. He seemed to have received a summon. It seemed that the thing in the map should be coming out soon. He had to go quickly. Lin Xian didn't dare to be careless. His body swayed, and he soared into the sky and flew into the distance. The limitless sea. There were raging waves here that stretched as far as the eye could see. Legend had it that this was a place where supreme experts fought in ancient times and the earth shattered, forming the sea. It was said that endless secrets were buried here. Over the countless years, many people had come to explore, but no one dared to go to the depths of the sea. This was because there were even more terrifying sea demons that were not weaker than human powerhouses. They were also extremely powerful existences among the 10,000 ancient races. At this moment, there were a few palaces floating over in the sky above the limitless sea. The divine chains that surrounded them surged with a terrifying aura. Figures entered and exited the palaces, one after another. At this moment, There was a throne in one of the palaces. There was a woman sitting on it. She wore a long dress and a half mask on her face. Her eyes seemed to be able to control the world. There were a few tails behind her. She shook gently and the void collapsed. At this moment, the mysterious woman with the half mask looked at the figures kneeling before her. She asked, "How is it?" "Elder Tianyin, don't worry. The formation is almost done. It won't be long before we can go down to investigate." After hearing this, the three women nodded their heads and revealed a satisfied smile. Someone from the side walked over and said, "Elder, the people from the Flying Rain Grotto and Purple Spirit Grotto are here too. Should we make a move in advance and get rid of them?" "No hurry. Let them set it up first. It won't be too late to make a move when the thing really appears," Elder Tianyin said calmly. So they were from the Green Hill Grotto. The other palaces should belong to the Purple Spirit Grotto and the Flying Feather Grotto. He wondered what they were doing in this sea. However, he could see that there were rays of formation light flickering at the bottom of the sea. These people were setting up a supreme formation. At the same time, a figure flew over from the distant sea. Lin Xian looked at the endless sea and frowned slightly. He could feel that the light of the map was getting stronger. Obviously, the destination was in this sea. When he arrived, he had already seen a tall stone tablet by the sea. On it, the words "Limitless Sea" were written. He had even heard of a legend about the limitless sea. However, as he flew into the sea, there were fewer and fewer people. In the end, there were no longer any martial artists who dared to stay here. However, after flying for a while, he frowned as he realized that there were more and more people in front of him. There was even the aura of a sage king. Not only that, he could also sense the power of the formation. There was more than one. There were people. Lin Xian was surprised. Could it be that they had the same purpose as him? Lin Xian used the heavenly secret god eyes, and a pair of eyes in the sky shrouded the area below. As expected, he discovered that there were many people, and these people's auras were very powerful. Lin Xian carefully sensed, hid the map, and flew carefully. He bypassed most of the people and flew towards a sea. It should be here. Lin Xian prepared to enter the sea. With a flash, he entered. After entering, he found that there were also people under the sea. Lin Xian's physique was fearless as he opened a barrier. He moved quickly. The people below thought that their companions had come. After taking a look, they realized that they were not from the same sect. "Who are you?" "Oh no, it's an enemy. Attack quickly." Seeing that Lin Xian was not one of them, he roared and stabbed his spear. Chapter 4486. This was a half-step Holy King. His attack was like a water dragon, and his long spear swept across. Lin Xian reached out his palm, grabbed the long spear, and blasted it in half. Another palm strike struck out, sending that person flying. That person fell into the depths of the sea, and his body split open and turned into a bloody mist. Damn it! The eyes of the surrounding people instantly turned red. Had one of their companions fallen? Kill him! In an instant, more than a dozen figures charged over from all directions. Many of them were water elemental saints. They used water elemental laws. Their monstrous power had an additional effect here. They turned into water cheelants and charged over. At the same time, 2 water enchantments appeared and suppressed Lin Xian. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly. His body shook, and the 9 suns' divine fire swept out like a sun, sweeping in all directions. Was this kid a fool to use flames in the sea? The surrounding experts sneered, but in an instant they felt their hair stand on end. Because this flame was too terrifying, all the seawater was instantly evaporated, and an empty space appeared. Not only that, the water cheelants and enchantments they cast were also instantly shattered. 6 figures turned into ashes, and the others were also repelled. Their bodies were charred black, and they were injured by the divine fire. Damn it! How could this guy's flame be so terrifying? This was the boundless sea. Any flame would be extinguished here, but the other party was an exception. Go and invite the Holy King. He was too powerful, these people exclaimed. Soon they formed seals and sent a message. From afar, a figure flew over. It was an old man with the aura of a holy king. At the same time, there were others in the distance. Who was it? How dare you attack the people of the Xiling Grotto Heaven? After the old man descended, he said coldly. There was also a terrifying law of water surrounding his body. Kid, it's you. When the old man saw Lin Xian, he was instantly stunned. He had seen this person before, because he had also gone to the martial arts competition and was present. He had seen Lin Xian before, so he was stunned. He didn't expect to be here. Elder, who is this kid? More people came from the surroundings and formed an inescapable net, enveloping Lin Xian. The old man laughed. He was just lucky to have married Princess Xueqi. What? This brat married Princess Xueqi? The surrounding people were all stunned when they heard this. They had heard countless stories about Lin Xian, but this was the first time they had seen him in action. Some people's eyes instantly turned red. Someone sneered. So it was like this. He was just a battle servant. What was there to be arrogant about? That's right. Brat, you can only stand behind a woman. Without Princess Xueqi's support, can you stand in front of us? Lin Xian glanced at these people, and golden light burst out from his eyes. It turned into a sharp sword and attacked. In an instant, the souls of the 5 figures were destroyed. You can't even withstand a single glance from me. Do you ants have the qualifications to clamor in front of me? A cold voice sounded. The people of the Violet Spirit Chamber turned pale, not daring to say anything. That elder was furious. How audacious! The other party had killed 5 of his disciples in front of him. This was a slap to his face. Brat, you are strong and can defeat young Master Xingqian, but I am not a young man like him. When I dominated the world, you weren't even born yet. So now go to hell. A huge hand slapped over, and endless seawater formed a huge hand that enveloped Lin Xian. Boom! Lin Xian punched out, and the huge golden hand was like a flame, resisting the attack. With a cracking sound, the huge hand was burned and turned into white mist that spread out in all directions. The elder frowned and retracted his hand. His opponent was indeed able to resist him. Moreover, he was able to use flames at the bottom of the sea. How could a holy venerate have the battle prowess of a holy king? The elder was shocked. However, he soon calmed down. No matter how powerful his opponent was, they were at the bottom of the sea. He was a water-type holy venerate. He could control the entire sea. As he roared, the seawater in the 9 heavens and 10 earths surged and formed a terrifying sword of water with his palm. Kid, let me teach you what a holy king level divine ability is. The elder revealed a smile. Then he swung his sword. The monstrous sea seemed to have come alive. It let out waves of roars and charged over quickly. Lin Xian's figure flashed and rushed over. The 10 ultimate swords formation appeared on his body, and countless sword chi flew out. At the same time, he took out the 4 beasts cauldron and blasted it forward. The power of the 4 beasts cauldron directly caused a terrifying crack to appear in the seawater. The phantoms of 4 beasts appeared, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. Boom! After a series of collisions, the sword of water cracked, and the elder vomited blood and flew backward. His expression became extremely ugly. Damn it, the weapon of a holy king. His body caved in. The surrounding people sucked in a breath of cold air. Their faces were filled with shock. Was he still human? How could he injure their elder? Damn it, the elder roared. It seemed that he was asking for help. At the same time, 2 figures flew over from afar. One of them was a middle-aged woman holding a blue bottle. The other was a gray-haired man with an iron sword on his back. Both of them had the aura of a holy king. When the 2 holy kings arrived, they frowned. "You're injured." Who could injure that old man? The elder pointed ahead and said, "He wanted to capture that kid. He had endless secrets on him." The two holy kings turned their heads. Their eyes pierced through the sea like lightning. In the next moment, they were also stunned. "It's him. That kid actually came here?" Could it be that Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven had also discovered this secret? They did not know. That kid came here on his own. They were using pills while absorbing the power of water around them to recover. So far, only he had been discovered. No one else from Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven had been discovered. Was it just him? Was he here to die? The middle-aged woman sneered. The man with the iron sword did the same. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Since he was here, he might as well stay. The Iron Sword, Holy King, swept his sword. This was the law of metal, and it was indestructible. Lin Xian waved his arm, and the 10 ultimate swords formation exploded. Dazzling sword rays flew out and turned into tens of thousands of sword rays. The Iron Sword was blocked, and it swayed nonstop. The Iron Sword, Holy King's face changed. What a terrifying power. He seemed to have felt the law of metal as well. A young kid like him wanted to overturn the heavens? The Aquarius, Holy King, sneered at the side. She waved her blue bottle with both hands, and boundless water gushed out. Lin Xian formed a seal with his palms. The human sovereign's seal swept out and knocked the bottle away. So powerful. The Aquarius Holy King's face changed drastically. One person could actually fight against the 3 of them. The elder said, "This kid was too strange. He definitely had the power of a holy Wanli." It seemed that the 3 of them had to join forces. The 3 holy kings walked up. The others quickly retreated. This was a battle between holy kings. This kid was too scary. Was he really a young man? He must have some treasures. But don't worry. With the 3 holy kings attacking together, no matter how strong he was, he would die today. Everyone nodded. That's right. They were very confident in the 3 holy kings. Chapter 4487. Lin Xian frowned slightly. The 3 sage kings? He also felt the pressure. Moreover, the most important thing was to find where the thing on the map was. If he guessed correctly, the people from the other grotto heavens should also be looking for that thing. However, those people did not have a map and only knew a rough area of the sea, so they set up a formation and began to search. And he had a map, so he could find that place more accurately. Just as he was thinking, the 3 sage kings attacked together. Monstrous sword Qi, terrifying seawater, and the great Tao treasure bottle all attacked. The power was like the sea, causing everything to collapse. Lin Xian kept dodging, while using the 10 ultimate sword formation to block. He took out the 4-beast cauldron and attacked with monstrous beasts. At the same time, he carefully sensed, and the golden light in his eyes bloomed. After half an hour, a piercing light suddenly burst out from his eyes. He finally found it. A spatial aura appeared on his body. He used the void escape and instantly disappeared. Damn it, did that kid escape? The 3 sage kings roared crazily when their attacks missed. Chase, he's nearby. He can't escape. Activate the formation and seal the entire seabed. The orders were given, and the formation was activated instantly. The 3 sage kings worked together to search. On the other side, a figure appeared in the depths of the sea. As soon as Lin Xian appeared, he continued to fly downwards. Below, there was a submarine canyon. Lin Xian entered the submarine canyon. After entering, he felt a huge pressure as if it was going to tear him apart. He roared and used his divine body to block it. It was too terrifying. Perhaps it was because he had a divine body. Otherwise, if it were anyone else, they would not be able to come here at all. Ordinary sage kings could not. What exactly is inside? He looked around. The submarine canyon was not big, and there were many dragon veins below. There were a total of 6 dragon veins intertwined with each other. Where they gathered, They formed a mysterious Tao pattern that fluctuated and flickered with a terrifying light. It seemed that the thing should be inside this Tao pattern. Lin Xian used the heavenly secret divine eyes to look. His gaze penetrated everything. The next moment he saw a key inside. At that moment, the light on the map became even more resplendent. Could it be that what was marked on the map was a key? Lin Xian was shocked. He couldn't figure it out, but he still made a move first and obtained the key. He took out the great dragon's sword soul. With one strike, he slashed at the Tao pattern, giving off a clanging sound. This attack did not manage to cut it open. This made Lin Xian even more shocked. This was the great dragon's sword soul. Next, he went all out and fought for the time it took for an incense stick to burn. Only then did he open the Tao pattern. Sweat dripped from his face, and his aura dropped significantly. Continuously using the great dragon sword soul consumed a lot of energy, but fortunately, he was able to open it. With a wave of his hand, he grabbed the key. Then, he quickly swallowed some natural treasures to recover his strength. However, at this moment, a voice came from outside the canyon. "Brat, do you think I won't be able to find you if you hide inside?" This voice was filled with a biting, cold-killing intent, causing Lin Xian's pupils to shrink. It was a Sage King, and a mid-stage one at that. Lin Xian raised his head, and his gaze pierced through the void like lightning. He saw many figures standing outside the canyon, and most of them were from the Purple Spirit Grotto Heaven. Among them were the 3 Sage Kings. In front of them, there was a middle-aged man in armor, standing with his hands behind his back. If this person wasn't from the Purple Spirit Grotto Heaven, could he be from the Ethereal Peak? He knew that the Ethereal Peak had sent experts to kill him. Weren't there 3 experts? He had already killed them. Now that another one had appeared, it seemed that the Ethereal Peak was really trying to kill him. Lin Xian's body swayed, and he flew forward. He arrived above the canyon. In front, the man in armor said, "Brat, come back with me. How dare you kill the experts of the Ethereal Peak? Go back and accept your punishment." He was indeed from the Ethereal Peak. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He said, "It was the Ethereal Peak who tried to assassinate me first. I was only retaliating. They deserve to die. As for going back with you, let's see if you have the ability." "You?" The man in armor sneered. "You killed 3 Sage King geniuses, but they were all early-stage Sage Kings. And I'm a mid-stage Sage King. If I want to kill them, I can do it with a punch. So it's just as easy for me to kill you. I advise you to go back with me obediently. Otherwise, you'll end up in a miserable state. Is that so?" Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and suddenly burst out with power. The 10 ultimate sword formation was activated, and he stabbed out. The terrifying sword light swept across the 9 heavens. Ignorant ant. Seeing that Lin Xian actually took the initiative to attack, the man in armor was furious. Since Lin Xian was courting death, he would fulfill his wish. He struck out with his palm, and endless light appeared between heaven and earth. The starlight in the sky formed a starry sky map, and it pressed down from the sky. Boom! Boom! This was an attack from a mid-stage Sage King. The starry sky map fell, and the sword chi in the sky was broken. Then it shrouded Lin Xian. Lin Xian's pupils shrank, and he retreated, dodging instantly. The place where he was originally standing had completely turned into nothingness. Too strong. Although it was only a difference of 1 realm, the difference between a mid-stage Sage King and an early-stage Sage King was like night and day. The man in armor was right. A mid-stage Sage King could kill an early-stage Sage King with a slap. Your speed is not bad. You can actually dodge more attacks. But how many more attacks can you make? You're no match for me at all. The man in armor sneered, and he struck out with another palm. The starry sky map rotated, and it attacked Lin Xian. Lin Xian took a deep breath, took out the 4-beast cauldron, and activated it with all his might. The power of the great dragon, sword soul, surged out. The four beast spirits shone brightly, and the demonic beast phantoms roared into the sky, and a terrifying power exploded between heaven and earth. Feeling this aura, the man in armor frowned. This is the four-beast cauldron of our ethereal peak, and you've got it. What shocked him even more was that the power of the four-beast cauldron was much more terrifying than he had imagined. You can control it so perfectly, so quickly. What kind of superpower is this? He did not know that there was not only the power of the four-beast cauldron, but also the power of the great dragon's sword soul. Lin Xian sneered. You don't deserve to know. You're a mid-stage sage venerable, and you're shamelessly trying to kill me. Is this what ethereal peak does? How disappointing. If we're at the same level, I'll kill you like a dog. Useless brat, in front of absolute strength. No matter how strong your talent is, it's useless. Today is the day you die. You're a sage venerable, and you can unleash such power. You must have endless secrets. Once I capture you, all your secrets will be mine. After speaking, the starlight on his body became even more terrifying, forming a starry sky sword. It fell from the sky. Chapter 4488. The seawater continued to split open. The surrounding people from the grotto heaven were also pale. The three saint kings also kept retreating. He was too strong. The other party was a realm higher than them, and he was also using the star tribe's supernatural power. Even if the three of them went up, they probably wouldn't be able to stop him. In their opinion, Lin Xian was dead meat. It was a pity that Lin Xian's secret was not fated to be with them. Lin Xian used the four-beast cauldron, and four demonic beasts charged over. At the same time, the Great Destruction spear appeared in his hand again. With one strike, monstrous demonic aura surged in all directions, blocking the starry sky map in the sky. I'll also give you a chance. Kneel down now, and I'll cripple you. I can spare your life. Lin Xian looked at the armored man and sneered. The armored man was furious when he heard that. Stupid ant, you have completely angered me. The other party took out two Saint King weapons and blocked his attack, making his lungs about to explode. He was a mid-stage Saint King. How much higher was his realm than the other party? At this moment, he was actually helpless against the other party. His killing intent was awe-inspiring. With a wave of his hand, a real starry sky map flew out from between his eyebrows, bobbing up and down. This was a Saint King weapon, and it was extremely terrifying. The moment it appeared, it enveloped the four-beast cauldron and the Great Destruction Spear. Do you think you're the only one who has a Saint King weapon? I'll freeze these two Saint King weapons. Let's see what you have to contend with me. Lin Xian felt that the two Saint King weapons were affected, as if they were stuck in a quagmire and couldn't withstand it at all. At the same time, he quickly retreated. This was because a starry sky sword came from the sky, and the power it carried was too terrifying. Star's spirit finger. A ray of starlight appeared in the armored man's hand, circling around his finger. He pointed out with his finger. This was the ultimate technique of ethereal peak. It had been used by Stardust before, but the power now was countless times stronger than Stardust. No one was able to block his finger. Perhaps even a Saint King of the same realm would be defeated. So powerful. Lin Xian frowned. He used the Void Escape and quickly dodged. Was this a mid-stage Saint King? It was too strong. There seemed to be a gap in strength that could not be crossed. Did you see that? Brat, this is the difference between us. You can't even withstand a single blow from me. How are you going to fight me? The armored man smiled. Lin Xian's face was gloomy, but he soon smiled. Since that was the case, it seemed like he had to use his trump card. He was prepared to use the great dragon's sword soul. Although he had used up a lot of energy earlier, he still had a lot of energy left. However, there were 6 dragon veins in the valley below. If he used the power of the dragon veins, he could definitely use the great dragon, Sword Soul, again. With a sway of his body, Lin Xian formed a formation that enveloped the area and directly absorbed the power of the 6 dragon veins. Then he unleashed his great dragon Sword Soul. A dragon-shaped sword shadow appeared, releasing a terrifying radiance. The dragon's roar resounded throughout the sea, causing the endless sea to tremble. The sea demons in the distance all let out terrified roars. The people of the Violet Spirit Grotto narrowed their eyes. Even the armored man furrowed his brows. His eyes were fixed on the great dragon's Sword Soul. What was that? That brat actually had such a treasure. The corners of his mouth curled up. Very well, I'll take it. You dare to have any ideas about this treasure? Lin Xian snorted coldly. With this sword, it'll be your time of death. As soon as he finished speaking, the 6 dragon veins below were completely absorbed. A surge of power poured into Lin Xian's body. With a roar, he waved his great dragon Sword Soul and slashed forward. Star Spirit Finger. The armored man once again used a terrifying technique. The sky was filled with starlight, shining with terrifying star laws. It flew forward. An earth-shaking sound rang out as the two collided, erupting with a destructive aura. The people of the Grotto Heavens were all blasted away. The 3 Sage Kings were also pale as they quickly retreated. Previously, they were still sighing that they didn't have the chance to kill Lin Xian personally. But now they were somewhat glad because if the 3 of them were to attack, they probably wouldn't be able to block such a terrifying sword. Damn it. In the shattered sea in front, a roar sounded, and everyone hurriedly looked over. In front, the armored man's face was gloomy. There was a crack on his finger, and blood was flowing out. It can't be. The Star Spirit Finger was broken? The 3 Sage Kings were shocked. That was a supreme technique, and the armored man didn't believe it either. He didn't hold back in that attack just now, and even a mid-stage Sage King couldn't block it. But now it was blocked by a Sage King. It was simply unimaginable for him to be injured. The armored man roared, and the starlight on his body became even more terrifying. Star Chain. The endless starlight transformed into 9 chains that danced in the sky. Then they charged forward. These 9 chains were even more terrifying, and each of them was comparable to a Sage King's weapon. At this moment, they swept across heaven and earth. Lin Xian also roared, letting out a dragon's roar. His eyes bloomed with a biting cold light. The great dragon's Sword Soul kept waving, and every sword could split heaven and earth. Boom! Boom! The two collided. Countless cracks were torn open. The sky and earth were filled with terrifying laws and destructive aura. The crowd could no longer see the 2 figures. They could only feel that the 2 forces were fighting. After an unknown period of time, the aura slowly disappeared. The sword chi and terrifying starlight that filled the sky disappeared. What was the situation? Everyone watched carefully. Lin Xian stood there with a pale face. His eyes bloomed with a cold light. Opposite him, the armor on the armored man's body was shattered, and countless cracks appeared and blood flowed. Some places had been pierced, and his body was almost torn apart. How could this be? The people of Xiling Grotto Heaven were all stunned. The armored man's eyes were also filled with horror. He couldn't believe that he had been defeated. Moreover, he had been defeated by a Sage King. One had to know that there was an insurmountable gap between a Sage King and a Sage King. It was possible for a Sage King to escape from a Sage King. However, it was basically impossible to defeat a Sage King. Unless it was a supreme secret technique or someone from the Emperor clan, it would be possible. But this kid wasn't from the Emperor clan at all. And at the Sage King realm, the gap between the mid-stage and early stage was even greater than the gap between a Sage King and a Sage King. It could be said that it was even more difficult to fight someone of a higher level. But the other party had done it and crossed the 2 great gaps. What kind of secret was in the other party's body? Why was it unexpected? Lin Xian looked at the other party, and a disdainful smile appeared on his face. I said, you can't do it. The reason why you are now a sage king is only because you have cultivated for a few thousand years. But even so, you are not my match. Now, I will send you to hell. Lin Xian walked up again. The array beneath his feet flickered, and the great dragon sword spirit roared again. Damn it, you want to kill me? What a joke! Charge! The armored man retreated while waving his hand. The people of Xiling Grotto Heaven felt their scalps go numb. The other party was a terrifying demon king. I order you in the name of Ethereal Peak. Do you want to disobey the order? The armored man roared crazily. Chapter 4489. The people from Xiling Grotto Heaven felt their scalps go numb. The three sage kings also sighed. Let's join forces and attack. That kid was a sacred venerate. After using his super powerful trump card, he definitely didn't have much strength left. Perhaps he was already at the end of his rope and was pretending to hold on. Attack! The three sage kings roared and rushed forward, attacking nonstop. But even so, they were only attacking from afar. No one dared to get close. You're as timid as a mouse. You don't even have the courage to fight me in close combat? Are you worthy of being called sage kings? Lin Xian sneered and struck out with the man-ruler seal. At the same time, an invincible aura bloomed in his eyes. He used the great dragon sword soul and struck out with the invincible sword. The three sage kings were forced back. Their bodies split open and they felt that their souls were about to be extinguished. Lin Xian waved his long sword and focused on attacking the armored man. The armored man didn't have time to retreat and was slashed open again. This time his soul was shattered. After another 2 strikes, he was killed and his soul was destroyed. The star map directly broke through the sea and disappeared. Lin Xian took back the other party's storage ring and looked at the three sage kings. Run! The three sage kings felt their scalps go numb and quickly retreated. At the same time, roar sounded. Reinforcements came. He killed an expert of the Misty Peak. Lin Xian snorted coldly and used the void escape technique, instantly disappearing from the place. Above the sea, the faces of the people in the palace changed when they heard this. What? Someone killed an expert of the Misty Peak. Quickly take him down. The experts of Xiling Grotto Heaven all moved out. The people of Feiyu Grotto Heaven and Qingqiu Grotto Heaven also attacked. They entered the depths of the sea and found that the person had disappeared. Damn it, quickly search. We must find this kid. The people of the 3 Grotto Heavens quickly scanned the surroundings to find Lin Xian. Lin Xian had already used his spatial ability to leave. He came to another sea. Then he entered the Black Earth and began to recover. Little White was in charge of guarding the situation, while He Tu was in charge of flying. Lin Xian took out natural treasures and absorbed them. After flying for about a day, an extremely terrifying roar suddenly came from the sea in front of them. The void fluctuated and the Black Earth was also affected. Lin Xian suddenly opened his eyes. Was someone coming? Little White jumped over and said, "Yeah, no, I can feel the aura of a powerful demonic beast." Lin Xian looked outside. In the next moment, he was astonished to find that there was indeed a sea in front of him. A terrifying sea demon, like a giant mountain in the sea, swept in all directions. There were many people fighting against it. However, at that moment, they were all retreating in a sorry state. Another terrifying ray of light shone. Following that, many people's bodies were split in half, turning into a bloody mist. Run! He's too strong. The surrounding people fled, one after another. Trying to escape? How dare you disturb me? All of you can go to hell. Under the sea, countless terrifying rays of light appeared and directly pierced through these people. Qin Xianer quickly retreated. Looking at the huge figure in front of her, she frowned. She realized that the people who came before had all died, and she was the only one left. The terrifying sea demon in front of her was staring at her. Her face became extremely solemn. It was a terrifying sea shark that had reached the sage ruler realm. What's more, you're a peerless fairy. Come and accompany me obediently. I can spare your life. In front, the sea shark stared at Qin Xianer. Qin Xianer's face became extremely cold. She gritted her teeth and said, "You? I'm from the Green Hill, Grotto Heaven. You'd better surrender obediently." "So what if you're from the Green Hill, Grotto Heaven? I heard that the people from the Green Hill, Grotto Heaven are all peerless fairies who have cultivated the secret techniques of the Green Hill, Grotto Heaven. It seems that I definitely can't let you go." As he said that, he laughed loudly. A blue saber light rushed forward. Qin Xianer snorted coldly. Her hands kept waving as she took out a guqin and played it nonstop. The sound of the guqin was bleak as it rushed forward. It collided with the terrifying saber light. Boom! Boom! An earth-shattering sound was heard. Qin Xianer retreated. The saber light was incomparably powerful. It actually broke through the sound of the guqin and attacked again. At this moment, another bell flew out from Xianer's body. The Hahuan bell shook and emitted a light wave to protect her, blocking the saber. At the same time, a terrifying sound wave swept out in all directions. The sea shark jumped into the sea and dodged the sound wave attack. Then he came out again. He was a sea demon himself. In addition to the infinite sea, he was like a fish in water. He appeared and disappeared mysteriously. Qin Xianer could only passively counterattack and was suppressed. The sea shark said, "Little fairy Qingqiu, do you see that? You're no match for me at all. I don't plan to kill you now. Follow me obediently. I'll let you enjoy glory and wealth. Otherwise, if you offend me, you'll end up in a miserable state." Although Qin Xianer had 2 treasures, she was still no match for him. Suddenly, he slashed out a ray of light. At the same time, his huge body kept changing. He turned into a human. A saber slashed over. Qin Xianer defended passively. The Hahuan bell was hit and kept shaking. She spat out blood and flew out. However, at this moment, the guqin in her hand also released a murderous sound that attacked the opponent's soul. The sea shark was also hit and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face turned pale. "Damn woman, how dare you hurt me? You've completely angered me. I've decided to send you to hell now." An extremely terrifying radiance burst out from his eyes. His voice was like thunder, and his killing intent was shocking. Qin Xianer's eyes were filled with despair. The opponent was really too strong. The 2 weapons in her hand were both Sage King weapons, but they couldn't do anything to the opponent. Who is this person? Next, the peerless saber light slashed down on Qin Xianer, and she spat out blood again. Her body was dyed red with blood, and it was an abnormally shocking sight. Another saber. Her eyes were filled with despair because the Hahuan bell had been sent flying. The guqin in her hand probably couldn't hold on anymore. Am I really going to die here? She was about to close her eyes. At this moment, a huge mountain appeared and turned into an ancient demon mountain, sending the peerless saber light flying. I'm saved. Qin Xianer opened her eyes and felt like she had just survived a disaster. On the opposite side, a murderous intent burst out from the sea shark's eyes. Who dares to interfere in my business? It's me. Are you not convinced? He slapped out with a palm. It was like the palm of a god, rampaging and tearing apart the endless sea. He rushed forward. With a boom, the sea shark was sent flying. Half of the sea shark's body instantly cracked, and blood dyed the sea red. Damn it! He let out a crazy roar. The sea shattered and endless monsters crawled. Who dares to hurt me? I'm going to tear you into pieces. The sea shark's eyes were filled with a cold light as he stared ahead. He saw a young man walking over. His body was covered in shocking flames. Chapter 4490. Qin Xianer was also stunned. She saw a figure standing there like a god of war, so young and so powerful. That was her first thought. When she felt the 9 suns' divine fire, she was even more stunned. Lin Xian, it's him. Qin Xianer's beautiful eyes were filled with disbelief. She couldn't imagine meeting Lin Xian here. Are you all right? Lin Xian turned around and looked at Qin Xianer with concern. At the same time, he took out some elixir pills. Qin Xianer shook her head. I was injured. If you hadn't come, I would have died. I didn't expect to see you here. That's great. How are you now? Qin Xianer had many questions. Lin Xian also had many questions. So you know each other. Well then, you two can meet in hell. Hai Sha walked over and stared coldly at Lin Xian. He was really mad. Qin Xianer's expression was solemn. Lin Xian, be careful. This guy is very strong. I can't defeat him even with 2 sage weapons. Lin Xian looked at Hai Sha with a smile on his face. Don't worry. After I kill him, I'll treat you to seafood. Lin Xian wanted to kill him and eat him? Sea Shark was enraged. White smoke rose from his body, but very quickly the corner of his mouth curled up into a smile. Ignorant ant, you want to kill me with just you alone? You're courting death. The 2 of you have completely angered me. When I catch the 2 of you later, I'll torture you. Cut the crap. Kneel down and accept your death. Lin Xian looked at him and said coldly. Hai Sha was so angry that he laughed. It seems that the 2 of you are from the Grotto Heaven. Green Hill Grotto Heaven. Let me tell you, I'm from Ethereal Peak. If you dare to fight with me, I can kill the 2 of you with a wave of my hand. Now kneel down and kowtow to me. Hai Sha's eyes were filled with arrogance. Qin Xianer's eyes narrowed. Ethereal Peak. No wonder he was so strong. No wonder the 2 sage weapons couldn't defeat him. It turned out that they were from the Misty Peak. During this period of time, even though she had suffered some hardships in the paradise, she had gained some understanding of the situation. In this region, the 6 great grotto heavens were powerful enough to suppress everything. However, above the paradise there was an unparalleled overlord, and that was the Ethereal Peak. Even their elders had to be extremely respectful to the disciples of the Misty Peak. The Hai Sha in front of him was also from the Ethereal Peak. Seeing Qin Xianer's surprised expression, Hai Sha was very pleased. How is it? Are you scared? As long as you submit, I can spare your life. Qin Xianer's face was pale. She gritted her teeth and didn't say anything. Lin Xian smiled. I was wondering who it was. So it was the Misty Peak. The identity of Ethereal Peak is not enough to scare me. If you don't have any other skills, you can die now. Brat, you dare to attack me? Hai Sha was stunned. He didn't dare to believe it. The people of the paradise dared to go against the Misty Peak. Qin Xianer also said, Lin Xian, be careful. The people from Misty Peak are too strong. Don't fight them head-on. Let's leave first. Lin Xian? Hai Sha frowned. Then a cold light flashed in his eyes. Could it be that you are the Lin Xian who defeated Xingqian? I say, how dare you go against the Misty Peak? So it's you. The other party knew Lin Xian. Qin Xianer was also stunned. Although she had entered the paradise, she didn't have the chance to come out. In fact, she didn't even know about the major events outside. This was the first time she came out. Therefore, she wasn't very clear about the matters regarding Lin Xian. Now that she saw that Hai Sha knew Lin Xian, she was very surprised. Lin Xian nodded. That's right. Since you know that I defeated Xingqian, why don't you kneel on the ground obediently and kowtow and admit your mistake? Humph, brat, you are really arrogant. However, you are too arrogant. Don't think that you can ignore everything just because you defeated Xingqian. Although Xingqian had some status in the Misty Peak, what about his strength? He was just ordinary. He was just a newbie who had just entered the Misty Peak. My strength isn't something that he can compare to. Therefore, you don't have the right to be arrogant in front of me. I will catch you, cripple you, and then bring you back to the Misty Peak. When I hand you over to the Star Tribe, they might even thank me for it. Boom! A terrifying aura surged out from Haisha and swept across the entire sea. Endless blade light rushed out from the sea and slashed towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian's body swayed and dodged quickly. At the same time, he said to Qin Xianer, "Go somewhere far away and protect yourself. Leave this guy to me." "Okay, be careful." Qin Xianer gritted her teeth and retreated quickly with the 2 sage ruler weapons. At the same time, in the sea ahead, the 10 ultimate sword formation was activated and blocked the blade light. Lin Xian roared. His fist was like the sun as it rushed out and evaporated the endless sea. He charged towards Haisha. Haisha was originally disdainful. However, when he felt the terrifying fist, his eyes turned cold. That terrifying power shocked him greatly. The boundless water that filled the sky condensed into a shield of the ocean, blocking in front of him. In the next moment, the terrifying sun fist landed on the ocean shield and let out an earth-shattering sound. Thousands of thunderous sounds fell. The ocean shield only lasted for a moment before it was covered with cracks. Then it suddenly cracked open. That power! Haisha was stunned. He was pushed back by the power. Boundless saber light surrounded him, and only then was he able to block the fist. His face had become extremely cold. His opponent's cultivation was only a sage ruler. However, that power was enough to threaten him. Thinking of the boastful words he had said and the sorry state he was in now, he couldn't bear it. He snorted and spat out a long blue blade and held it in his hand. The blade light flashed and slashed downwards. Clang! Lin Xian didn't dodge and caught the blade with his bare hands. Endless flames burst out. As for Lin Xian, he was holding on to his saber. Then his other hand formed the human ruler seal and slapped forward. Boom! The long blade was caught. Haisha couldn't dodge and attacked with the human ruler seal again. Haisha was sent flying. Endless cracks appeared on his body. Boom! 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 Like a kite with a broken string. Haisha fell into the sea and tore a crack in the sea. It formed a canyon. Qin Xianer was stunned. Had Lin Xian become so strong? Previously, she had used all her strength but couldn't block it. But now, Lin Xian had suppressed his opponent and even sent him flying. Had this guy become so strong? Had he reached the middle stage of the sage ruler realm? Qin Xianer looked carefully and realized that Lin Xian was only a sage ruler. That made her even more incredulous. She had already become a half-step sage ruler and was only 1 step away from becoming a true sage ruler. She didn't expect that Lin Xian's strength would far surpass hers, even though his cultivation was behind hers. Chapter 4491. At the bottom of the sea. Haisha's body stopped, and his face became extremely ugly. Damn it! How could Lin Fan be so powerful? Lin Fan actually suppressed him. He couldn't believe that Lin Fan was just a sacred venerable. Damn it! He roared and rushed out. Lin Xian looked down and sneered. Lin Xian thought, "You're just SOO. How dare you be so arrogant? Is ethereal peak trash? Humph. Don't be so arrogant. I'll show you the ultimate technique of ethereal peak." Terrifying laws appeared on Haisha's body. He formed a seal with his palms and formed a strange rune. More and more runes appeared. Finally, it formed a picture scroll. Heavenly River Picture. With a roar, endless water flew into the Heavenly River Picture. That shocking power made Qin Xianer tremble and almost fall from the sky. This power is too terrifying. Can Lin Xian withstand it? Looking at the immeasurable water in the sky, Lin Xian's eyes also emitted a cold aura. 9 suns, mountain-embracing seal. An immemorial demon mountain appeared and suppressed the world. On the demon mountain, endless flames burned. Lin Xian pushed his palm, and the flaming immemorial demon mountain charged towards the Heavenly River Picture in the sky. Boom! When the two collided, monstrous power and flames swept out. The heavenly river picture was instantly shrouded and shattered. It couldn't withstand it at all. Damn it! So powerful? Seeing the heavenly river picture shattering, Haishaw's face turned ugly. He took out the blue long saber again and attacked wildly. Heavenly River saber technique. The saber light was very sharp and contained shocking power. It was murderous. It was enough to kill anyone below the middle stage Sage King realm. But it was a pity that he met Lin Xian. Lin Xian's sword chi turned into a huge dragon. It roared and broke free from the saber light in the sky and sent Haisha flying. The people of Ethereal Peak are indeed trash. A cold smile appeared on Lin Xian's face. How is that possible? Haisha vomited blood again and his body shattered. He roared in horror. Who are you? Golden flames like the sun. Could it be the legendary Nine Suns' divine body? What is that dragon roar? Are you from the dragon race? He was really too shocked. Lin Xian was shocked. You can even recognize the Nine-Yang divine body? He was quite knowledgeable. It really was the Nine-Yang divine body. Haisha was horrified. It was no wonder that he had been defeated. This was the starry skies, and his physique was extremely powerful. He turned around to flee. Lin Xian's huge hand came down like the 10,000 dragons picture, covering heaven and earth. Since you have seen through my divine body, do you still want to escape? Go to hell. No, you can't kill me. I am from the Misty Peak. If you kill me, it will be very troublesome. Let me go, and I promise I won't tell your secret. I don't believe in you. I only believe in people who go to hell. As for killing you, is it that troublesome? I've killed more than one expert of Ethereal Peak. I'm not afraid of you. Lin Xian waved his hand, and a monstrous sword light blossomed, completely enveloping his opponent. Boom! Boom! It was like 10,000 dragons emerging from the sea. Even if the other party turned into a bloody mist, his soul would not be able to escape. Lin Xian put away the storage ring. He also sealed the other party's long blade and threw it into the Grand Sage Tower. Behind, Qin Xianer was stunned. The changes in the battle made her unable to react at all. When she came back to her senses, she realized that Haisha was already dead. Her face turned pale. Why did you kill him? He was from the Misty Peak. So what if he was from the Misty Peak? Lin Xian looked at the other party and laughed. He wanted to kill us. Isn't it normal for me to kill him? Furthermore, he wasn't the first Misty Peak expert to die in my hands. He should be the fifth one. Qin Xianer went crazy. In her knowledge, the Misty Peak was a supreme existence. The people of the Grotto Heavens would definitely not dare to touch the existence of the Misty Peak. But at this moment, Lin Xian did not have any scruples at all. What was this guy's identity? Why was she scared silly? Don't worry, the Misty Peak won't know about this. Oh right, tell me about your situation. Qin Xianer came back to her senses and said, there were treasures ahead. Lin Xian was surprised. He then followed Qin Xianer. The two of them flew into the sea. Along the way, Qin Xianer told him about her situation. Back then, the Hehuan sect was suppressed as well. Everyone else was turned into puppets. However, because she had the bloodline of the Qingqiu tribe, she did not become a puppet. They returned to the Qingqiu Grotto Heaven. However, her status in the Grotto Heaven was not high. Back then, she was in despair because her master, the Closed Moon Sage King, had died in order to protect her. After Qin Xianer came to the Grotto Heaven, she went into seclusion. Now that she had just come out, she did not know about the situation of the others. Lin Xian nodded and told him about his own situation as well. When Qin Xianer heard about Lin Xian's situation, she was even more shocked. It was too legendary. This guy changed from a battle servant to the prince consort of the 1,000 Mountain Grotto Heaven and even a disciple of the Xiantian Pavilion. It was like a legend. Oh right, what are you Grotto Heavens looking for here? Lin Xian asked. Qin Sienna said that she did not know. She only knew that an ancient treasure was about to appear in this sea. So, when we received the news, we set out with the elders. We set up a formation here. I saw that the time was not right, so I prepared to come out to look for some opportunities. I found that there was a 10,000-year-old dragon marrow at the bottom of the sea. Quite a few people noticed this as well. Even the sea shark at the back had come. He defeated everyone and even wanted to kill me. Next, it's up to you to save me. Lin Xian finally understood. 10,000-year-old dragon marrow? Good stuff. The two of them sped up. Soon, they entered the sea and found that there was a broken cave abode at the bottom of the sea. The cave abode was dilapidated and had been there for a long time. There was a formation, but it was also in ruins. The two of them walked in easily. After entering, Lin Xian felt a strange energy surging into his body. It made him feel refreshed. There was also the sound of a dragon roaring in his body. Lin Xian was surprised and looked ahead. There were dragon shadows on the wall of the cave in front of him. They were the size of a finger and looked like small dragons hanging there. This should be the dragon marrow. Looking at the power it contained, it was definitely 10,000-year-old dragon marrow. Lin Xian found that about 1/3 of the 10,000-year-old dragon marrow had been taken away. He was stunned and then quickly checked Hai Shaw's storage ring. Sure enough, he found that 1/3 of the dragon marrow in the storage ring. It turned out that it was taken away by this guy, but fortunately, the storage ring was already his. There were 12 drops of 10,000-year-old dragon marrow left. Each drop of 10,000-year-old dragon marrow was more precious than tens of thousands of other drops. Qin Xianer said, "How about we split it equally? If you feel that you're at a disadvantage, then I'll repay you with my body." "Okay, I accept your request. When you're free, you can give yourself to me as a gift." Lin Xian smiled. Qin Xianer also smiled. She rolled her eyes at Lin Xian and then began to collect the dragon marrow. Chapter 4492. She carefully stored every drop in a jade bottle. Then she said, "This is great. When I go back, I can absorb it for a long time with other treasures." She was really overjoyed. On the other side, Lin Xian grabbed 6 drops of 10,000-year-old dragon marrow and directly absorbed them into his body. He gave it to the dragon, Sword Soul. Qin Xianer was stunned. "You're absorbing it just like that? Can you handle this power?" Lin Xian said, "Don't worry, I can handle it. If you really can't handle it, you can marry me." Qin Xianer sighed. "It's a pity that you have so many peerless fairies around you. Now that you're the prince consort of the 1,000 mountain grotto heaven, you probably won't like me, right?" Lin Xian said, "Don't be discouraged. I know people from Demon Emperor Mountain. I'll introduce you to them one day. With your talent, I think you'll improve by leaps and bounds. How dare you make fun of me?" Qin Xianer gritted her teeth. She wanted to pounce on him and bite him. Suddenly she said, "Oh right, you promised to eat seafood. Why did you beat that guy into a bloody mist?" Lin Xian laughed. "What's good about that guy? I'll find some shrimp soldiers and crab generals for you." The two of them left the cave abode. Lin Xian really caught a few shrimp soldiers and crab generals and made a pot of delicious food. Ethereal Peak. At this moment, the atmosphere was extremely solemn. During this period of time, 3 of the Ethereal Peak disciples' soul jade tablets had been broken. This meant that these 3 people had died outside. This was simply unbelievable. It was something that rarely happened in the past 1,000 years. What was the status of Ethereal Peak? They were above the grotto heaven and could do whatever they wanted in this area. No one dared to provoke them. Unless they went to other areas, they might die. Otherwise, they wouldn't die at all. But now, within a few days, 3 of them had fallen. Furthermore, all 3 of them were Saint Kings. This was unbearable. Damn it, what's going on? Who did it? Finally, an elder walked out and roared crazily. The others didn't dare to speak. In the end, someone said that the three of them had accepted the same mission, which was to kill Lin Xian. Who was Lin Xian? That elder asked. Not long after, he received news about Lin Xian, and his face immediately turned cold. Are you saying that the three of them died at the hands of a sacred venerate? Do you believe it? The others also looked at each other. To be honest, they didn't believe it either. Was a saint venerable really that powerful? To be able to kill so many saint kings consecutively? Although Lin Xian had defeated Stardust, defeating a holy king and killing a holy king were two different concepts. If a holy venerate wanted to go all out, a holy venerate would not be able to dodge. In the worst-case scenario, both of them would perish together. But now, 3 sage kings had fallen in the hands of the other party. The elders said that this kid was not simple and that there might be someone behind him. I have to go to the 1,000 Mountain Cave and find out who he is. Soon, a few figures left the ethereal peak and headed to the 1,000 Mountain Cave. The ethereal peak was very powerful, and these elders had their own families. Among them, the Star Tribe was one of the most powerful families in the ethereal peak. At this moment, in the Star Tribe, an elder sat cross-legged in the sky, cultivating. He was an extremely terrifying elder in the Star Tribe, and his cultivation had reached the late stage of a Saint King. The starlight in the sky circled around him, forming a starry sky map that looked extremely mysterious. At this moment, the elder suddenly opened his eyes. The starry sky map around him flickered nonstop, and the sky fell and the earth cracked. A terrifying, murderous intent swept across the area. With a wave of his hand, a soul jade token flew out from his storage ring. At this moment, it was already broken into pieces, and it was dim. This meant that the other party's soul had been destroyed. The Star Tribe elder's eyes were filled with killing intent. Had he fallen? This person was the one they had sent to kill Lin Xian. He was a middle-stage Saint King, but at this moment he had fallen as well. It was definitely not done by that kid. No matter how strong a Saint Venerable was, he couldn't kill a Saint King. Just who was standing behind this kid? Men, check it out for me. How dare he do this to our ethereal peak? I will make him regret coming to this world. His palms kept forming seals, quickly forming an astrolabe. The astrolabe shone brightly, and endless illusions emerged from it. Finally, it stopped above the sea, the boundless sea. The Star Tribe elder frowned slightly. That guy had actually gone to the boundless sea. At this moment, another roar resounded through the 9 heavens. Everyone in the ethereal peak was stunned. My heavens, what's going on? The ethereal peak, which was usually incomparably quiet, had such a situation happen one after another? The Star Tribe elder frowned slightly. He was already in a bad mood, so he instantly flew out. Demon Whale, what are you shouting for? The Star Tribe elder frowned. Below, there was an extremely tall man. His skin was black, and there were terrifying demonic runes on it. His original form was a terrifying whale, and he was also a sea demon. He said that his disciple had fallen, and he had fallen in the boundless sea. Damn it, who dares to attack my ethereal peak? Is it the boundless sea again? The Star Tribe elder frowned as well. He said that someone from the Star Tribe had also fallen in the boundless sea. There was such a thing. The demon whale was also stunned. Then he said, doesn't your Star Tribe have the great divination astrolabe? Hurry up and use it. All right, follow me. The Star Tribe elder nodded. I want to see who dares to attack my Star Tribe. The two of them turned into streams of light and disappeared from the mountain peak. They arrived at an extremely frightening palace hall. An astrolabe floated up and down continuously. There were stars in the sky, and it looked extremely mysterious. The Star Tribe elder cast a spell to activate the great divination astrolabe. The winds and clouds in the boundless sea were changing. In the void, starlight fell and swept in all directions. A voice came from the starlight. His body and soul had been destroyed, and there was only some blood left. What a ruthless method! Hurry up and take a look. Where did Haisha fall? Another voice came. Then the starlight disappeared and appeared in another sea. Did he fall here? Suddenly, the starlight fell and pierced through the sea, forming a huge crack. A broken cave abode appeared. There was a powerful aura left inside, and it seemed like there were treasures. Obviously, Haisha had been killed when he was fighting for the treasures. Don't worry, they can't escape. The starlight in the sky flickered and then spread quickly. On the other side, Lin Xian and Qin Xianer had already left the broken cave abode and appeared above the sea. Let's go. Qin Xianer was ready to return. Lin Xian was also ready to leave this place and find a safe place to study the map. What was going on? He had obtained a key from the map, but where did this key open? He still didn't understand. Suddenly, his body shook and he frowned. Chapter 4493. Little White also jumped out, his eyes twitching as he said, "It seems like we've been targeted." He didn't feel comfortable. Lin Xian also frowned. Indeed, he could feel a mysterious force searching for them. What should I do? Is it someone from Ethereal Peak? Qin Xianer's face turned pale. Why don't you follow me back to Green Hill Grotto Heaven and hide? Lin Yuan shook his head. If it was someone from Ethereal Peak, it would be useless to go to Green Hill Grotto Heaven. Oh no, let's go. Lin Xian instantly formed an array and took Qin Xianer with him as they used the void escape and disappeared. In the next moment, a ray of starlight appeared where they were standing and enveloped them. Then a voice rang out. Spatial power? You actually managed to escape. You're quite capable. However, you can't escape. The void cracked open, and Lin Xian and Qin Xianer appeared. Qin Xianer asked, "What should we do? We can't defeat them." Lin Xian said, "The person who attacked us is very strong, and we can't defeat him. However, it's impossible for him to find me." After saying that, he stepped out of the array again. Within the formation, an extremely terrifying power of space also appeared. He was an array formation expert, and Xueqi also liked to study array formations. Therefore, there were many array formation materials in her residence. When Lin Xian had nothing to do, he would create a lot of array formations in case of emergencies. Now he really had to use them. This was also spatial teleportation, and the distance was even further than the void escape. After he disappeared, the ray of starlight appeared again. "Damn it! You're using an array formation. I don't believe that I can't find you." An even colder voice rang out from the starlight. Soon, he caught the aura of an array formation again, and his face turned even colder. However, at this moment, terrifying lightning appeared in the sky, and a sword array formation appeared again. It directly slashed the ray of starlight. How could a mere lightning go against the great star spread plate? "You're courting death." A cold laugh rang out from the starlight. When the lightning struck the starlight, there was a deafening sound. The lightning shattered, but the starlight was unharmed. However, the sword chi was unusually cold as it shattered the starlight. An angry roar came from within the starlight. How could this be? Misty Peak, inside a palace, the elder of the star race had a gloomy face. His eyes were filled with disbelief. There was actually someone who could shatter the starlight of the great divination star plate. What kind of weapon was this? Could it be that there was a supreme sword king contending against them? The immeasurable sea. On an uninhabited island, two figures appeared. There was also a small monkey. It was Lin Xian and the other two. After coming out, Lin Xian used his Tianji God eyes to scan his surroundings. Qin Xianer asked, had they caught up yet? After waiting for a while, Lin Xian shook his head. They shouldn't be able to catch up. I've already shattered their starlight. My guess is that they are using some kind of special weapon to pursue us. Fortunately, I shattered the starlight, so they shouldn't be able to detect it for the time being. At this point, he once again used the great dragon sword soul to completely destroy the aura in the storage rings. Then it enveloped him. In this way, they shouldn't be able to detect it. Lin Xian once again set up a formation on the island. It should be safe here for the time being. Let's cultivate first. Didn't you get the dragon marrow? Hurry up and use it. Otherwise, if those people from the grotto heaven find out, they might snatch it away. Qin Xianer nodded. Her status in the grotto heaven wasn't high, so she also prepared to cultivate here. Lin Xian prepared to absorb the power in the storage rings he had obtained. It wasn't safe to keep these things. It was better to give them to the great dragon sword soul to increase its power. As the great dragon sword soul increased, his strength would also increase by leaps and bounds. The power of the great dragon sword soul continued to increase. Lin Xian felt that his strength was also increasing. At this moment, lightning condensed in the sky as if it was about to fall. Lin Xian frowned. He hadn't broken through. He was now at the peak of the Saint Venerable realm. If he broke through, he would be a half-step Saint King. However, he still couldn't feel the opportunity to break through. Yet, lightning tribulation was descending. Lin Xian frowned. He left the island and went to the depths of the sea to receive the impact of the lightning. This time, the lightning was blood-colored. It was shocking. It seemed that it wasn't a heavenly tribulation, but a heavenly punishment. Damn it, he was abandoned by the heavens. He didn't expect that after coming to the buried Emperor Star, he would still receive the power of heavenly punishment. Moreover, it was even stronger than before. Lin Xian frowned. He entered the sword Dao small world in his body to resist. However, if he wanted to break through to the Saint King realm, he had to find a place with a great emperor. Otherwise, the heavenly punishment would be even more terrifying. He couldn't resist it. It seemed that the matter was getting more and more urgent. Lin Xian clenched his fists. Fortunately, the mysterious small sword in his body was incomparably profound. It seemed to have formed its own world. Only then could he block the terrifying heavenly punishment. Red lightning filled the sky, emitting a destructive aura. The surrounding sea demons of the limitless sea all prostrated themselves. At this moment, a roar sounded. Damn it, who disturbed my rest? Damn it, it's actually a heavenly punishment. Where did this terrifying person abandoned by the heavens come from? A toad jumped out of the sea and kept roaring. When it saw the figure in front of it, it was instantly stunned. Kid, it's you. Lin Xian had a sword, Dao, small world beside him. When he felt that there was a power behind him, he slapped out with a backhand. The toad screamed and flew back into the sea. Then he roared, Damned brat, you dare to hit your own people? However, Lin Xian couldn't hear anything. He was going all out to transcend the tribulation. The toad could only stay there angrily. After waiting for a long time, the red lightning in the sky slowly disappeared. Lin Xian put away the mysterious small sword and let out a sigh of relief. It was too dangerous. Fortunately, he had this thing. Otherwise, it would be too dangerous to resist the heavenly punishment. He turned around and revealed a look of surprise. Why are you here? Where's Rizalong? The toad was infuriated. Damned brat, you slapped me just now. How are you going to make it up to me? Lin Xian was stunned. It was you just now. I thought someone attacked me. However, your skin is really thick. I can't kill you with one slap. The toad was furious. I'll fight you for 300 rounds. It rushed forward, but it was slapped back by Lin Xian. Damn, kid. You're clearly a Saint Venerable. Why are you so powerful? It can't be helped. You can't compare to a peerless genius. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. The toad was so angry that it vomited. Lin Xian said, Why is it only you? Where's Rizalong? Chapter 4494. The toad said, Don't mention it. I followed you to the buried Emperor Star and was then suppressed by someone. I was separated from that fellow. But when I left, that fellow said that he was going to look for some dragon race. It seemed that he wanted to return. The Crimson Dragon went to look for the dragon race. Lin Xian was surprised. Forget it. Let's not bother with this fellow. The other party originally had the inheritance of the dragon race. In addition, his strength and talent were top-notch. Lin Xian was not worried about this fellow at all. At this moment, a terrifying aura could be felt from the island. A phantom appeared. He was surprised and turned his head to look. He saw the phantom of a nine-tailed fox roaring towards the sky. 9 tails danced in the air. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The sea swept across. After the toad saw it, it was surprised. The 9-tailed fox was that fairy. She was not simple. He saw Qin Xianer. Lin Xian was also stunned. It seemed that Qin Xianer had been underestimated. The Qingqiu bloodline in her body was definitely terrifying. One must know that the sage king he had encountered in the Qingqiu clan only had 7 tails. But now, Qin Xianer had actually used the 9-tailed fox. It was probably a top-notch bloodline talent. The toad at the side said, "No, it's not just because of the bloodline. According to my observation, this fellow's origin is not ordinary. It's very likely that she's the reincarnation of someone." The 9-tailed race was also an ancient race. The strongest among them usually only appeared with 8 tails. 9 tails was really too rare. One would not appear in 10,000 years. There were 2 reasons for the 9-tailed phantom to appear. First, her bloodline was previously sealed. Second, she was a reincarnator. But no matter which one it was, her future achievements were limitless. When she grew up, she would not be weaker than your divine body. The toad sighed. It was rumored that there was a 9-tailed fox that stirred up heaven and earth and even dared to compete with the great emperor. In the end, she was suppressed by the great emperor. But even so, you can imagine what kind of existence she was, right? So powerful. Lin Xian was surprised. It seemed that he had underestimated the true 9-tailed fox. The toad said, "Competing with the great emperor? You might not be able to imagine it. Great sages were incredible, weren't they?" The 9-tailed heavenly fox grew up eating great sages as food. Can you guess how terrifying he is? Who would have thought that Qin Xianer would have such a terrifying bloodline? The Green Hill Grotto was really burying a genius. Brat, you should remind her. The toad said that she came from another world and her foundation is not on the buried Emperor Star. In other words, she didn't have any powerful background here. Once someone found out that she had such a terrifying bloodline, they would definitely kill her. Do you think those old monsters of the Green Hill clan will let her go? Even if he didn't kill her, he would extract her peerless bloodline. Therefore, he had to remind him. Lin Xian nodded and flew forward. The phantom of the 9-tailed fox slowly disappeared. Qin Xianer also opened her eyes and said, "Great, I feel that my strength has increased." He was not far from breaking through to become a true holy king. Lin Xian said, "Xian, let me tell you something. Don't be shocked." He recounted what he had seen earlier. After Qin Xianer heard it, she was shocked. "You said that the phantom of the 9-tailed fox appeared on my body." She was really shocked. As a member of the 9-tailed clan, she naturally knew what this meant. Lin Xian reminded her, "You don't have a powerful background here, so it's better not to show such talent." Qin Xianer nodded. "I understand. Thank you." Lin Xian smiled. "What are you thanking me for? You've already given yourself to me. How can I not help you?" "You." Qin Xianer's face turned red. The toad exclaimed, "Damn, I came late. What did I miss?" Scram! Qin Xianer sent the toad flying with a kick. "What are you going to do next?" Lin Xian asked. Qin Xianer said, "I have to go back. If I don't go back for a long time, they will look for me and interrogate me. At that time, the secret will be discovered." Lin Xian nodded. Go back to the Green Hill Grotto first. We'll contact each other again. What about you?" Qin Sienna asked. After all, Lin Xian had killed many experts of the Ethereal Peak. If he was targeted by the Ethereal Peak, it would be troublesome. Lin Xian smiled. "They can't catch me." The two of them bade farewell, and Qin Sienna returned. Lin Xian rose into the air and flew in another direction. Qin Sienna didn't return to the grotto. Instead, she returned to the palace above the limitless sea. After all, she came back with the elder this time. When she came to the nearby sea, she felt that the atmosphere was unusually tense. She was extremely nervous. She wanted to go back quietly. Suddenly, she felt a group of people walking towards her. The leader was a man who said coldly, "Qin Sienna, where did you go? Come with me to see the elder." Qin Sienna was stunned. Wasn't the matter discovered? She could only brace herself. The person in front sneered. "Don't forget your identity. Although you're from the Green Hill clan, you're from another world. You're not a prince or princess. How dare you sneak out without orders? Just wait to be punished." Qin Sienna heaved a sigh of relief. It didn't matter if she was punished. At most, she would be locked up for a few days, or she would be asked to do more missions, as long as their secret wasn't discovered. Indeed, Qin Sienna was punished. After returning, she probably wouldn't be able to come out again. She was happy to go into seclusion. After waiting for 2 days, these people left. They seemed to have gained nothing. Coupled with the death of the Ethereal Peak experts, these people didn't dare to stay here. Hence, they left in a hurry. On the other side, Lin Xian and Brother Toad were on their way. "Kid, where are we going next?" Brother Toad asked. Lin Xian said, "I don't know. I have a map with me. It should be a treasure ground. I just don't know where it is. Let me take a look." Brother Toad took a look and said, "This is a fragment of a map. Have you gotten the rest?" Lin Xian shook his head. "No, I got this map by chance. With this map, I got a key in the limitless sea." Lin Xian took out the key. It was a bronze key. It was very simple, and there were countless runes on it. It gave off a mysterious aura. Brother Toad looked at it for a long time, but couldn't understand it. It should be the key to some place. It must be related to the map. "Kid, it seems that I didn't look for it properly. And Little White, isn't he an expert at finding treasures? Let him look for it." Little White glared at him angrily and said lazily, "I'm not interested." Indeed, the little guy's interest was in all kinds of spirit fruits and spirit herbs. Lin Xian said, "I'm not in a hurry. These things can only be found by chance. If I can't find them, I won't go. I came out this time to find some opportunities. Also, I want to know more about the buried Emperor Star and see if there are any remnants of emperors." Chapter 4495. The territory ruled by the Misty Peak was boundless and contained endless secrets and legends. Among them, there were a few ancient cities that had been left behind since ancient times. No one knew the exact time, but no one dared to behave atrociously in the ancient cities. This place was very sacred and had an unfathomable aura. However, on this day, something happened in Qinkuan Ancient City that shocked countless people in the city. On this day, an old sigh could be heard from Qinkuan Ancient City. It was as if it was ringing in everyone's ears. It shocked countless people. Every full moon night they would hear such a sigh. As a result, the news spread quickly. Many experts came to investigate, but in the end they found nothing. However, on this full moon night, other than the old sigh, the entire Qinkuan Ancient City was shaking. It was as if it was about to ascend. The people in the city were shocked. The news spread even wider, and countless people were sure that there were changes in the ancient city. Perhaps the legendary buried secret was about to appear. For a moment, many people were ready to head over. It was said that the 6 grotto heavens had also received the news and headed over. Even Ethereal Peak would send people over to investigate. Lin Xian also received the news. He took the map and found that Qiankuan ancient city was not far from them. They would arrive after flying for about 5 days. Hence, he was ready to head over. Qiankuan ancient city was very majestic and untraceable. It was like an ancient beast that stood between heaven and earth. The city walls were very tall, and there were runes flickering on them with mysterious power. At the city gate, there were 2 statues that were 1,000 meters tall and completely black. They had a majestic aura and gave people a sense of grandeur as they approached. Feeling this terrifying aura, Lin Xian was also amazed. It was really surprising, as expected of an ancient city. At this moment, he had already changed his appearance and identity. After all, he did not want to be targeted by the people of Ethereal Peak. And this time, he knew that many experts from the Grotto Heavens would also come. Hiding his identity might save him some unnecessary trouble. The toad was also amazed. He felt that this city definitely had treasures. That fairy was quite good-looking. The toad looked at the person in the distance and drooled. "Brat, it's very suitable for you. Do you want me to help you snatch it?" Lin Xian glanced at him. "You better keep a low profile here. The people here are all very strong. Otherwise, they might catch you and cook you." The surrounding people were all shocked. Did this toad want to die? Don't you know that they're from the Green Hill Grotto Heaven? The leader of the group was the leader of the heavenly abode. He was a late-stage saint king. However, there were indeed many fairies who knew about the Grotto Heaven. Every single one of them was peerless. The one in the purple dress should be Fairy Yin Su. Many people looked at the purple figure with envy in their eyes. Lin Xian looked over, and a smile appeared on his face. It was this woman again. It wasn't the first time he had seen him. The first time they had met, he had been watching the battle from afar. It was when he killed Mr. Ling Su. The people from the Qingqiu Grotto Heaven descended. The one leading the team was Elder Tianyin. Previously, he went to the Limitless Sea without any success. Recently, he received some news, so he came here, Qiankuan Ancient City. At this moment, looking at the majestic ancient city, she also sighed with emotion. She hoped that she would gain something this time. Insu was also by his side. As an outstanding disciple of the Qingqiu Grotto Heaven, she was very valued. This time, her cultivation had reached a bottleneck. If she wanted to break through to the Saint King realm, she still needed an opportunity. Therefore, she was prepared to come to Qiankuan Ancient City to fight for her own opportunity. Feeling the countless envious gazes around her, Insu ignored them all. As a peerless fairy, a favored daughter of the heavens, she had received the attention of tens of thousands of people since she was young. However, the person who could move her had yet to appear. Suddenly, her heart skipped a beat, and a huge fear emerged. She turned her head abruptly, revealing a puzzled look, giving her a familiar and terrifying feeling. She looked around but didn't find anything. However, she saw a figure. That person was wearing a red robe, but his face was extremely unfamiliar. On his shoulder, there was a little monkey, and beside him was a toad. It was very strange. This man gave her an indescribable feeling. She seemed to have seen him before, but she couldn't remember. Moreover, from the other party's calm gaze, she actually felt a kind of fear from the bottom of her heart. "Junior Sister Sue, what's wrong?" Beside her, the people from the Green Hill Grotto Heaven asked with concern. Insu shook her head. It was nothing. She withdrew her gaze. However, 2 figures raised their heads and looked in the direction of Insu's gaze. When they saw Lin Xian, a cold glint appeared in their eyes. "A toad wants to eat swan meat?" "Humph!" They sneered and ignored him. In addition to the people from the Green Hill Grotto Heaven, Lin Xian also saw people from other Grotto Heavens. Even the people from the 1,000 Mountain Grotto Heaven had also come. Lin Xian realized that most of the people who came this time were Saint Kings. It seemed that these were the true experts of the Grotto Heavens. There were even some that Lin Xian had never seen before. It seemed that they had just come out of seclusion. Or perhaps they were people who had rushed over from outside to do missions. These people were all powerful experts and geniuses who had experienced hundreds of battles. Their appearance shocked countless people. It seemed that this time there would definitely be a storm in Qinkuan ancient city. Let's go in too. Lin Xian said to the toad. Then they also walked forward. After entering, it was very lively. The streets were very wide. There was no problem for dozens of monsters to walk side by side. There were also pavilions that were scattered all over the place like stars in a chessboard. There were restaurants, inns, weapon pavilions, elixir halls, and everything else. The two of them exclaimed as they walked. Suddenly, the toad saw a hall that was even more majestic than an imperial palace. It flew out from inside and smelled all kinds of food. It said, "I'm hungry, let's go in and eat." Lin Xian looked and saw that the plaque on the hall's forehead said, "First Hall of Universe." What a domineering name. He nodded. "Okay, let's go." They walked inside. At this moment, a sneer came from the side. "Get lost. A toad wants to enter here? Can you afford it? Every grain of rice in the First Hall of Universe is a heavenly treasure, and the price is calculated in dragon marrow. With just the two of you, I think you'd better not embarrass yourselves here." Lin Xian frowned slightly and looked to the side. He saw a few people in green robes walk out. The leader was a tall man who looked very arrogant. Next to him was a pale, short-haired man with a sword on his back. It flickered with a cold light. Both of them had reached the Grand Sage realm, and judging from the tokens they were wearing, they should be from Qingqiu Grotto Heaven. Lin Xian recognized them at a glance. They were the two people who had followed Yinsu back then. They were Yi Xiaofeng, the fox hero. The two of them looked at Lin Xian with killing intent. This kid dared to peek at their junior sister Sue. They would not forgive him. Chapter 4496. Senior brothers, what are you waiting for? Insu's voice came from behind. She walked over, and a strange fragrance wafted over, causing many people's eyes to light up. The two people in front of her also smiled. "Junior sister Sue, we're waiting for you. Let's go." Insu nodded and walked over. When she saw Lin Xian, she was stunned again, and her eyes were filled with even more confusion. When Yi Xiaofeng saw this scene, he asked, "Junior sister Sue, do you know this person?" Insu shook her head. "No, let's go." She nodded slightly at Lin Xian and walked in. "Kid, if you hadn't stopped me just now, I would have killed them with a slap." Damn it. The toad was so angry that it stomped its feet. "How dare you call me a toad?" He wanted nothing more than to smash their faces. Lin Xian's face was also cold. "It doesn't matter. Let's wait for a while. I'll remember these two guys. I won't let them off." The two of them walked forward. At this moment, another person walked over and exclaimed. He jumped. Lin Xian turned his head and revealed a look of surprise. "Qin Xianer, is she here too?" Lin Xian said with a smile. "Aren't you punished?" Qin Xianer was stunned at first, but then she understood. Lin Xian had changed his appearance. She said, "Originally, I was going to be punished, but for some reason, Elder Tianyin brought me here." Lin Xian and Qin Xianer walked inside. During this time, Qin Xianer also told Lin Xian some strange things in Qinkuan ancient city. Lin Xian was also surprised after hearing this. There were sighs even before the full moon. Moreover, Qinkuan city seemed to be about to ascend. It was really strange. No wonder so many experts were gathered here. The two of them entered the hall and went to the second floor. They found a place by the window and sat down. "Junior sister Qin, why are you here?" At this moment, a surprised voice was heard. A woman in purple walked over. It was Insu. Insu looked at Xian, with great surprise. She looked at Lin Xian again, a trace of doubt in her eyes. Then she smiled. "Junior martial sister Qin, this young master looks unfamiliar. Aren't you going to introduce him?" Qin Xianer was stunned at first, but she soon realized that Lin Xian wasn't willing to reveal his true identity. This was Sword Maniac Young Master. When Lin Xian was in the Green Hill Grotto Heaven, he used the name Sword Maniac. Now, Qin Xianer naturally said it out loud. Sword Maniac? Insu was surprised. She thought about it carefully and did not recall anyone using this name. Therefore, she asked which paradise the Sword Maniac Prince belonged to. I'm not from the heavenly abode. Lin Xian shook his head. What a cold person. Phoneme was surprised. One had to know that with her beauty, as long as a man saw her, their eyes would definitely turn red and they would even try to curry favor with her. However, the man in front of her didn't seem to care at all. In fact, he didn't even seem to want to talk to her. This made her feel defeated. What was going on? Could it be that she couldn't compare to Qin Xianer? She withdrew her thoughts and said, Junior Marshal Sister Qin, since you are your friend, come with me. Qin Xianer originally wanted to refuse, but Lin Xia said that it was fine. Then, the group of people walked forward. Lin Xian and the others were only sitting in the ordinary seats, but Phoneme brought them to the VIP seats. There were individual courtyards inside. This time they were going to the Purple Cloud Pavilion, which was east of the main hall. There was another small courtyard. After entering, the interior looked like a paradise. There were many people standing in front of them. Some were from the Grotto Heaven, and some were from other Grotto Heavens. Junior Marshal Sister Su, you're back. Yi Xiaofeng turned around and smiled. He walked over to welcome them. However, when he saw Lin Xian and Lin Xian beside Phoneme, he frowned. Kid, how did you get here? Is a toad qualified to come here? Damn you, the toad jumped up. If you don't accept it, I'll fight you for 300 rounds. Do you believe that I won't slap you to death? Do you want to die? Yi Xiaofeng's face darkened, and the aura of a sage ruler spread out from his body. It caused the surrounding heaven and earth to shake. What happened? The people in front also turned their heads. Are you not giving us face by fighting here? Junior Marshal Brother, what's going on? Hu Renjie also walked over. His expression was cold. He naturally saw Lin Xian and the toad and immediately frowned. Phoneme said, Senior Marshal Brothers, don't be angry. She's someone I brought here. The two of them are Junior Marshal Sister Qin's friends. Hu Renjie looked at Qin Xianer, and a light appeared in his eyes. He remembered this person, who had just come from another world. She went into seclusion not long after she arrived, and they hadn't seen each other much. He didn't expect her to come this time. Immediately he smiled. So it's Junior Marshal Sister Qin. In that case, I'll give Junior Marshal Sister Qin some face. He waved his hand and came to Qin Xianer's side. Qin Xianer held Lin Xian's arm, nodded, and said, Thank you, Senior Marshal Brother Hu. Then, she held Lin Xian's hand and walked in. Hu Renjie's expression froze. Looking at their backs, his face turned cold. Senior Marshal Brother Hu, do you like this girl? Yi Xiaofeng asked. Hu Renjie didn't say anything. Yi Xiaofeng smiled. Senior Marshal Brother, don't worry, I'll help you later. With that, they also walked up. There were many seats in front, and the toad directly jumped to the best one and sat down. Countless people exclaimed, and Yi Xiaofeng's face darkened. However, Hu Renjie didn't say anything. He would let the toad be smug for a while first. He would skin these two toads alive and pull out their tendons. Phoneme introduced Qin Xianer and Lin Xian. As for Lin Xian, everyone ignored him. He wasn't even a Grotto Heaven, so he probably didn't have any status. However, everyone paid close attention to Qin Xianer. After all, Qin Xianer's appearance wasn't inferior to Phoneme's. In fact, she was even more beautiful than Phoneme. In addition, she was a newcomer, so it should be easier to woo her. Junior Marshal Sister Qin, I'm from the Flying Feather Grotto Heaven. Junior Marshal Sister Qin, I'm from the Purple Spirit Grotto Heaven. Junior Marshal Sister Qin, if you have any difficulties, feel free to come to me. The surrounding people began to introduce themselves. They were either geniuses from grotto heavens or experts from other ancient races. In short, their identities were extraordinary. These people all stared at Qin Xianer with a hint of passion in their eyes. Obviously, they were all interested in Qin Xianer. Junior Marshal's sister, Xianer, sit with me. At this moment, Hu Renjie stood up and said with a smile. As soon as he said that, the surrounding people were also surprised. It seemed that Hu Renjie was also interested in Qin Xianer. Moreover, these two should be from the Nine-Tailed Fox clan. Since Hu Renjie had taken a fancy to Qin Xianer, many people gave up on the idea. This Hu Renjie was not weak. In the younger generation of Qingqiu Grotto Heaven, he was definitely ranked in the top 10. Qin Xianer was also stunned. She said, "No need, I'll sit here." This guy actually refused. Many people were shocked. Chapter 4497. Yi Xiaofeng said, "Junior sister Qin, you just came to Qingqiu Cave, so you don't know. Our senior brother, Fox, rarely invites people to sit with him. Senior brother Fox is definitely in the top 10 of the younger generation, and he even has the chance to be in the top 5. It's a great honor to sit beside him." "No need." Qin Xianer shook her head, then took Lin Xian's hand and said, "I'll sit here." Her meaning was obvious. The people around all stared at Lin Xian. Could it be that this guy and Qin Xianer were cultivation partners? They didn't expect that such a good cabbage would be taken by an ant. They looked at Lin Xian with disdain in their eyes. Some of them even had killing intent in their eyes. Hu Renjie's face darkened again. Qin Xianer had rejected him twice. No one had ever dared to reject him twice. There was also a trace of coldness in his eyes. Junior sister Xianer was really unapproachable. Was this junior sister Xianer's cultivation partner? His strength was not very good. It seemed that he was not a Saint King. Everyone below the Saint King level was an ant. Had junior sister Xianer heard of this before? It was obvious that he was mocking Lin Xian with those words. Sure enough, Yi Xiaofeng also laughed when he heard this. Which cave or family did this sword maniac come from? "I'm a rogue cultivator," Lin Xian said lightly. "A rogue cultivator? No wonder." Yi Xiaofeng sneered. "He's still a saint venerable. The weakest here is a half-step Saint King, and many are even Saint Kings. Do you think you're qualified to sit with us? Boy, if I were you, I would have left long ago because I don't have the face to stay here." Hearing Yi Xiaofeng's words, the others also burst into laughter. The man from the flying feather cave said, "Boy, you said you're not qualified to come here. Our status is beyond your imagination. Our rings and necklaces are all super powerful saint weapons and magic treasures. I'm afraid you've never seen them in your life." Qin Xianer's face instantly turned pale, and anger appeared in her eyes. These people are too despicable. They were mocking Lin Xian. Despicable. Moreover, it was because of her. She looked at Lin Xian apologetically. However, he noticed that Lin Xian's expression was calm. Qin Xianer started to get nervous. She knew Lin Xian's true strength. Although he was still a holy venerate, killing holy kings would not be a problem. That was because there had been more than one Saint King that had fallen in his hands. Furthermore, the ones he had killed were from the Misty Peak. A single finger of the Misty Peak was more precious than all the people present. Lin Xian could kill someone like that without hesitation, let alone these people. If these people angered Lin Xian, none of them would be able to leave this place alive. Thinking of this, she shook her head slightly and sighed, feeling sad for these people. Originally, they were from the same paradise, and she wanted to help them. However, these people mocked Lin Xian, and even had designs on her. Naturally, she had to look on coldly. Insu also frowned slightly. After all, Qin Xianer and Lin Xian were brought here by her. Yet they were being ridiculed in such a manner. She said, Everyone, why do you have to do this? Can you give me some face? As soon as she said this, the people from the other paradises stopped talking and looked at Yi Xiaofeng and Hurenjie. Hurenjie's eyes also turned cold. Yi Xiaofeng said, Junior Sister Supersonic, I advise you to stay out of this matter. You, Insu, also frowned. Do these two really think that they can do whatever they want just because they are holy kings? Since you don't welcome us, I'll leave with Junior Sister Qin and Sword Maniac Prince. At the same time, she said, I'm sorry I didn't treat you well. I'll open a separate courtyard and we'll go there to eat. After that, she wanted to leave with Lin Xian. Lin Xian did not have the intention to leave. Qin Xianer looked at Yin Su with a smile on her face. Thank you for your kindness, Senior Sister Yin Su. It seems that there are still good people in the Green Hill Paradise. After all, Senior Sister Yin Su is a good person. If Senior Sister Yin Su is in trouble in the future, I can help her. Want to leave? Hurenjie also smiled when he saw this scene. You can leave if you want to, but you have to get out yourself. You too can't leave. He stared at Lin Xian, then at Insu and Qin Xianer. The corners of Yi Xiaofeng's mouth also lifted into a smile. Since Hurenjie was interested in Qin Xianer, Insu was his. He had been chasing this junior sister for a long time, but she always found an excuse to reject him. This time, he would definitely not let the other party escape. Insu's face changed when she heard this. Damn it, this guy is also thinking about me. Qin Xianer sighed. These people are really courting death. Courting death? She was ready to watch a good show. Lin Xian stood up and walked forward. He came in front of Hurenjie and said coldly, Get out? How? Why don't you show me? Kid, do you want to die? I didn't attack you just now because of my 2 junior sisters. How dare you challenge me? Do you believe that I can kill you in one move? Even if I don't kill you, I can break your limbs and destroy your cultivation. He was already a saint king, and Lin Xian was only a saint venerable. He could kill Lin Xian with his eyes. However, Lin Xian was courting death. Is that so? With your cultivation? The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up in disdain. Make your move. Let me see if you have the right to kill me. Ignorant ant, I'll fulfill your wish. Hurenjie's eyes flashed coldly. He was really angry. Lin Xian was not from the Grotto Heavens and did not have a powerful identity. So what if he killed him? Thinking of this, he threw out a palm attack. Under the palm attack, the whole world shook. The geniuses from the Grotto Heavens were shocked. He's too strong. No wonder he's from the Grotto Heavens. His strength was so strong that even a saint king of the same level would not be able to block it, not to mention a saint venerable. Under the palm attack, Lin Xian's soul would be destroyed. The surrounding people sneered. Lin Xian looked at the attack and threw out a palm attack. You dare to fight back? Hurenjie was stunned. Then, a cold, murderous intent appeared in his eyes. The law on his palm was even more terrifying. In the next moment, their palms collided. Boom! The sound of thunder and the sound of bones breaking was heard. The people from the Grotto Heavens laughed. Junior Sister Qin, it's such a pity. I'm afraid your cultivation partner will be destroyed. They smiled coldly. However, in the next moment, when they saw the situation in front of them, the smiles on their faces froze. Then, a look of horror and shock appeared on their faces. The sound of bones breaking was heard. Then, a blood mist filled the air. Hurenjie's palm was broken and turned into a blood mist. Then his arm was broken. In the end, half of his body was torn into pieces. He retreated and roared crazily. It was hard to believe that he was in such a miserable state. Chapter 4498. Lin Xian retracted his palm. There was not even a crack on his palm. What was going on? The other party was unscathed from the clash of the two. However, a sage king was seriously injured. The surrounding people were stunned. Their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Yi Xiaofeng was even more stunned. His senior brother, Hurenjie, had been defeated? How was that possible? Insu was also dumbfounded. She could not believe it. Only Qin Sienna smiled. It seemed that the dragon was about to awaken. These people were unlucky. With one palm, Hurenjie was smashed into a bloody mist. Then, Lin Xian continued to walk forward. His expression was extremely cold and emotionless. Hurenjie's pupils constricted as he roared crazily. "Damn brat, how dare you hurt me? You're dead. I'll skin you alive. I'll break your bones. I'll make you wish you were dead. Not only you, but everyone related to you will go to hell." A crazy roar was heard. Yi Xiaofeng also came back to his senses. His back was already drenched in cold sweat. At this moment, he also jumped out and said, "Brat, how dare you hurt senior brother Huren? You're dead." Senior brother Huren is from the Qingqiu clan. Senior brother Huren's father and grandfather are both elders. Kneel down and accept your death now. Otherwise, you're finished. Lin Xian raised his head and glanced at the other party. There was a hint of coldness in his eyes. His gaze was like a divine sword as he looked at Yi Xiaofeng. Yi Xiaofeng was so scared that he took 2 steps back and almost fell to the ground. Damn it! He could not believe that the other party was only a sage king. His gaze was like a divine sword that was about to pierce through his body. Yi Xiaofeng was so scared that he did not dare to speak. Lin Xian looked at Hurenjie again. Hurenjie also felt his hair stand on end. He felt like his body was about to be pierced through by the gaze. He could only roar to show off his arrogance. "Brat, do you know who I am? Do you know that many elders and powerhouses of our grotto heaven are here this time? As long as they know that you're dead when they arrive." "Oh, is that so? Then go ahead and call for help." Lin Xian said indifferently, "I'll give you a chance. Call all the elders you know over." Cold killing intent also surfaced in Lin Xian's eyes. Now that his strength had increased greatly, he wanted to have a big battle. Moreover, he was a disciple of the Xiantian Pavilion. Even if an unparalleled Saint King appeared, he wouldn't be able to escape. He also believed that those people would not dare to touch him. Hearing this, the surrounding people were all stunned. Even Hurenjie did not believe it. What did he say? The other party wanted him to seek help from the elders and experts? Did this brat really think that he could fight against the elders of the grotto heaven? This was a good opportunity. This brat was too arrogant. He hurriedly informed his elders. On the other side, Yi Xiaofeng also revealed a ferocious smile. This brat, who doesn't know his limits, is definitely going to die this time. Phoneme was also stunned. What was this sword maniac thinking? It looked at Qin Sienna and said, "Junior sister, take the young master and leave first. I will deal with the situation here." However, Xian Er shook her head. "I can't change his decision." Phoneme sighed. Why was this junior sister Qin so stubborn? She had no choice but to take out the voice transmission bell. "Master, something has happened on my side. Can you come over for a while?" It didn't take long for the voice transmission bell to return. "Su, don't worry about this matter. Hurenjie's family is extremely powerful. I can't fight against them." Phoneme's eyes were filled with despair when she heard this news. Who dares to cause trouble in the first hall of heaven and earth? At this moment, a cold voice was heard. Everyone was taken aback as they looked ahead. The next moment, they saw a tall man walking over. This man was handsome and wore luxurious clothes. He had many saint artifacts on him. Endless laws surrounded him as he raised his hands. It was as if a god had descended. Behind him was a middle-aged man with a white face and no beard. This middle-aged man looked like a scholar. There was a mysterious power in his eyes. "Who are you?" The man from the flying feather, Grotto Heaven, frowned and asked, Who dares to interfere in our business? My name is Luo Fifin, and I'm also the owner of the first hall of heaven and earth, the man said proudly. Hearing this, the surrounding people exclaimed, Luo Fifin, the owner of the hall of heaven and earth. His identity was extraordinary. Although it was their first time in the ancient city of heaven and earth, they had heard of this man. He was one of the 3 young masters of the ancient city of heaven and earth. His identity and strength were unparalleled. Even if they saw him, they would have to treat him with respect. The ancient city of heaven and earth had been passed down for a long time. The Luo family, as one of the 3 top families in the ancient city of heaven and earth, had a terrifying background and strength. As the young master of the Luo family, Luo Fifin's identity was extraordinary. Therefore, the surrounding people were shocked. This was one of the 3 young masters of heaven and earth. Now that they had met him, he was indeed extraordinary. Many of the geniuses from the grotto heavens were excited. Luo Fifin looked at the injured Hurenjia and frowned slightly. You guys are fighting here. Don't tell me you don't care about the rules I set? They could feel the anger in the voice. The others sucked in a breath of cold air as well. Although they were powerful, their status was still far from being comparable to the other party. Even the arrogant Vulpra hero's expression changed. He said, It's this guy who started it. He doesn't know what's good for him. He pointed at Lin Xian. Luo Fifin looked at him. He also looked at Lin Xian. Then he said, Did you do it? He was twisting the truth. Lin Xian snorted. You should know who did it. Who did it? Luo Fifin asked. Those from the other grotto heavens. They all pointed at Lin Xian. Yes, it's this guy. They didn't dare to offend Hurenjia, let alone Luo Fifin. It seems that you did it. In that case, kneel down and cut off your hands. Crawl out of here, and I'll spare your life. Luo Fifin said coldly. He didn't allow anyone to break the rules he set. Once someone broke the rules, they would have to pay the price. Lin Xian smiled when he heard that. Why are you laughing? Luo Fifin frowned. Lin Xian said, I'm laughing at your stupidity. You should be surrounded by a lot of arrays in the world. Not only are there defensive arrays, but also observation arrays. You must have seen what happened before. Otherwise, you wouldn't have rushed here in the first place. Since you've seen it, you must know who provoked me first. But you still attacked me. This shows that you're not a powerful person. You don't want to offend the grotto heavens. Instead, you chose me who has no background. But I can only say that you're really stupid. The surrounding people gasped. This guy dares to fight with Luo Fifin. Does he want to die? Even they didn't dare to offend Luo Fifin. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to walk out of Qinkuan Ancient City alive. Great, you're courting death. Yi Xiaofeng smiled ferociously. It seems that this guy is doomed without us doing anything. Chapter 4499. Luo Fifin also smiled. His courage was commendable. Do you know? In Qinkuan Ancient City, no one has ever dared to resist me, let alone challenge me. You are the first. Speaking of this, his face became gloomy, and there was a hint of killing intent in his eyes. The surrounding space continued to fall and freeze. Even the Saint Kings felt a chill run down their spines. Luo Fifin's strength was definitely at the level of a sage king, and it was very terrifying. If such a person were to attack, no one would be able to resist. I haven't fought for a long time, and I didn't expect that when I fight again, it would be to kill you and Aunt. You should feel honored. He stretched out a finger, and the Dharma danced in the sky, stirring up the wind between heaven and earth. When he pointed out his finger, it was like a vast sea rushing over. Everyone was pushed back, and their faces were pale. Buzz! At the same time, an extremely cold light burst out from Lin Xian's eyes, like lightning. He took a step forward and clenched his hand into a fist. He threw out a punch, like a giant dragon sweeping across the world. Boom! This punch, with an indomitable force, tore the void into pieces. His finger was instantly shattered. Not only that, this punch sent Luo Fifin flying. Luo Fifin was like a kite with a broken string, and he directly hit the array. He fell down and vomited blood. Endless cracks appeared on his body, and his blood instantly dyed the ground red. Those people in the surrounding grotto heavens went crazy. What did they see? He actually attacked Luo Fifin. Moreover, he injured Luo Fifin with a punch. How strong was this kid? Why was he so strong? At the same time, they felt that he was too bold. He would definitely not be able to walk out of the first hall alive. Luo Fifin was injured, and at the same time, countless guards with sabers appeared in front of him. They were cold and murderous, and all of them were staring at Lin Xian. As long as the order was given, they would attack ruthlessly. The middle-aged man with a white face and no beard, who had been following him, also frowned. He stared at Lin Xian and said coldly, "You dare to attack here? Did you mean his guards? In that case, attack." He was the one who didn't know right from wrong and wanted to bully others. I was just teaching him a lesson on how to behave. The middle-aged man didn't say anything. He closed the fan in his hand, and a piercingly cold aura appeared in his eyes. Endless, mysterious trajectories appeared in his eyes, forming the shape of a hexagram. A terrifying soul power flew out from his eyes. Everyone felt as if their souls were about to collapse. This was a destructive soul aura. This middle-aged man was an expert in eye techniques. Not good. Yin Su's expression turned ugly, and even Qin Xianer exclaimed. Soul attacks were the most dangerous. The slightest bit of carelessness would result in the destruction of both body and soul. Lin Xian's eyes exploded with golden light, and at the same time, a reincarnation light appeared and flew forward. He managed to block his opponent's hexagram. Endless laws shattered the array formation. No one dared to approach where the two of them stood. The middle-aged man's pupils constricted and his face paled. He didn't attack again, his heart filled with shock. He was no ordinary person. He was now 4,800 years old, and his cultivation had reached the late stage of the Saint King realm. However, he had been injured previously and had fallen to the middle stage. Now he was in Qiankuan Ancient City, recovering from his injuries. Although his cultivation was only at the middle stage of the Saint Venerable realm, he was a cultivator of eye techniques. His hexagram eye technique was extremely terrifying. No one in the same realm as him could block it. This time he chose to stay in the Luo family and protect Luo Fifin because the Luo family had saved him. He didn't expect to encounter today's incident. Elder Tong, please take him down. Suppress him. I want him to suffer a fate worse than death. I want him to regret being born in this world. Luo Fifin roared crazily, his face full of malevolence. He couldn't believe that he was defeated by an ant. This was a great humiliation to him. Only by torturing Luo Fifin could he vent the hatred in his heart. Lu Mang Daoist frowned slightly, but he didn't say anything. He didn't attack either. Luo Fifin stood up and roared crazily. Elder Tong, I told you to kill him. Didn't you hear me? He was really mad. What was wrong with him today? How dare the people around him disobey his orders? Lu Mang Daoist frowned tightly. To be honest, he was only protecting Luo Fifin to repay his kindness. However, Luo Fifin was not qualified to order him around. He could even ignore Luo Fifin's father, let alone Luo Fifin, when he, Lu Mang Daoist, was running rampant in the world. These people weren't even born yet. Of course, there was another reason why he didn't attack. He was too shocked. Although the young man in front of him was only a fake sacred venerate, which was far inferior to him. However, the eye technique just now had left him completely dumbfounded. He felt the power of reincarnation in Luo Fifin's eyes. There was only one person in this area who could control such power. He was from the ethereal peak, and he was an extraordinary person in the ethereal peak who could control the power of reincarnation. The young man in front of him was from the ethereal peak. Moreover, he was of an extraordinary status. Even if the Luo family was one of the 3 big families in Qiankuan ancient city, they would end up in a miserable state if they offended such a person. He shook his head slightly at the thought of this. If he offended the ethereal peak, he could just leave. The world was so big that he could find a mountain to hide in, and those people wouldn't be able to find him. However, the Luo family couldn't do that. The Luo family's foundation was in Qiankuan ancient city. Once they offended the ethereal peak, they wouldn't be able to escape. Lu Mang Daoist sighed at the thought of the Luo family saving him. He took out a voice transmission talisman and was about to send a voice transmission to the Luo family head so that he could be prepared. Everyone waited in silence, their scalps tingling. Luo Fifan heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the voice transmission talisman lit up. Great, it must be the experts from the Luo family. Once the experts from the Luo family arrive, this kid will definitely regret it. Ha ha ha, this kid is dead meat. Yi Xiaofeng laughed sinisterly. After injuring young Master Luo, he wouldn't be able to walk out of the hall today, even if he had 10 lives. In Su's face was pale as he whispered, "You too should leave quickly." Qin Xianer was also surprised. This kid was too lawless. If it were her, she wouldn't have dared to do so. However, this guy seemed to have always been like this. No matter where he was, he would always press forward and no one could stop him. Seeing that Lin Xian and Qin Xianer didn't leave, Sui Yi sighed. He had tried his best. Buzz, buzz, buzz. At this moment, another team walked in from the outside. The leader was an old man, and there were 8 figures following behind him. When these people walked in, their powerful aura suppressed everything. "Great, Elder, you're here!" Yi Xiaofeng exclaimed when he saw this. Hu Renjie also stood up and revealed a sinister smile. "Elder, catch this kid. I'll make him regret it." Chapter 4500. The elder waved his hand, and 8 battle servants stepped forward. Among the 8 battle servants, 3 were Saint Kings, and the remaining 5 were half-step Saint Kings. Everyone felt a chill down their spines when they attacked together. "Kid, aren't you good at fighting? Why don't you come and hit me? How dare you attack me? I'll make you wish you were dead today." Hu Renjie roared crazily outside. He could finally take his revenge. To be honest, he was also stunned by Lin Fan's strength. But so what? Now that there were 3 Saint Kings and 5 half-step Saint Kings here, no one could fight against them at the same time. Humph! Lin Xian snorted and turned to look at Hu Renjie. A golden light appeared in his eyes. Hu Renjie hugged his head and knelt down, trembling. "Damn it, how dare you attack me?" That elder was furious. The others were also shocked. How could Hu Renjie be so embarrassed with just one look? This kid's strength was too terrifying. Hu Renjie felt that his head was about to split open, and his soul was severely injured. This pain was worse than killing him. Kill! The 8 battle servants saw this and attacked crazily. Their master was injured, and they would definitely tear him into pieces. The aura of the 3 Saint Kings was unparalleled. 3 berserk sabers slashed over, while the other 5 people held battle swords in their hands. They formed a sword formation and attacked. The blade light was piercing, and it split the sky and earth. The sword light flashed, and it was unparalleled. "Just you?" Feeling these people's attacks, Lin Xian's eyes sharpened. In the next moment, a cold light appeared in his eyes. From his body, power spread out, shaking the sky and earth. Then he struck out with his palm. As soon as he used the man-ruler seal, he was like a peerless god of war, sweeping away everything. The 3 blades were instantly shattered. The 8 people vomited blood and flew backward, turning into blood mist. This strike was so terrifying that no one could compare to it. The surrounding people were stunned. Whether it was the experts of the Grotto Heavens or the people of the Luo family, they were all dumbfounded. They now knew that they couldn't measure this kid's strength by his cultivation level. This kid definitely had the strength of a Saint King, and he was close to the middle stage of the Saint King realm. Who was he? How could he be so powerful? You're courting death. The old man from the Qingqiu Utopia also shouted angrily. He slapped out with both hands, which transformed into 2 sharp claws, and charged over. The void shattered. Like a storm, it swept towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian's expression was grave as he struck out with another palm. Instantly, the sharp claws that filled the sky continuously shattered. The elder felt a strong sense of danger and hurriedly used 3 shields to protect him, resisting the destructive power. But even so, he was still hit by it. His body was torn into pieces as he flew out, unable to stand up again. Lin Xian's strength was extremely powerful, and coupled with the fact that he was using the peerless Manruler seal, ordinary elders would not be able to withstand it. He sent the elder flying with a single palm strike. Then he continued to walk forward. At this moment, no one dared to stop him. Yi Xiaofeng was so scared that he knelt on the ground and kept shaking. Hu Renjie also escaped from his soul. He looked at this scene and roared in horror. "Damn it! What are you trying to do? How dare you kill me? The Qingqiu Utopia will not let you go." Lin Xian smiled. "Don't worry, I won't kill you, but I will cut off your limbs and cripple your cultivation." Those were the words that the other party used to threaten him, and now he was returning them to them. Not only did he say it, but he also did it. A sword light appeared in his hand and instantly cut off the other party's limbs. Then he struck out with the Manruler seal and shattered his cultivation. Hu Renjie fell to the ground and screamed crazily. He felt that he no longer had any strength and had completely become a cripple. He was in despair. The Qingqiu Utopia would definitely not raise a cripple. His future would probably be worse than death. "Don't kill me. Please spare me." Yi Xiaofeng, who was next to him, also kowtowed crazily when he saw the scene. He was really scared. However, Lin Xian's expression was cold. He also cut off his limbs and crippled his cultivation. It was too terrifying. This method was even more terrifying than killing these people. Moreover, the people from the other Grotto Heavens also felt their scalps go numb. Previously, they had also mocked this guy. What would happen to them? They did not know. Some people even wanted to escape. However, Lin Xian's gaze swept over them. Suddenly, these people stopped and were all terrified. "We have eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. Please spare our lives." "Yes, sword maniac young master, please let us go. We will be your slaves." These geniuses from the Grotto Heavens kept begging for mercy. They were still high and mighty before, but now they were as timid as mice. No one dared to go against Lin Xian. Lin Xian did not say anything. In front of him, a few figures walked out. Suddenly, the world shook, and there was a great Tao flickering under their feet. Obviously, the people who came were very powerful. "Father, you are finally here." Luo Fifan laughed. "Is this person the head of the Luo family?" The other people from the same Grotto Heavens also breathed a sigh of relief. Not only did they beg for mercy, but they also showed a sneer. "Great! With such a peerless overlord here, the other party will definitely not be able to escape death." Luo Yuanshan walked in. At this moment, his expression was incomparably dignified. Although he looked like a middle-aged man, he had lived for nearly 4,000 years. For a sage king, this was considered a very old age, so he had found a successor. That was Luo Fifan, as the next head of the family. Luo Fifan's performance had been very good, which made him very satisfied. However, today's matter really made him very worried. Luo Yuanshan, a late-stage sage king, did not say anything after he appeared, but his terrifying aura suppressed all directions. No one dared to be arrogant, and all of them kept silent. Qin Xianer was also nervous. Such a terrifying person. Even Lin Xian could not resist. He secretly glanced at Lin Xian. Lin Xian looked calm. He could not defeat a late-stage Sage King now, but so what? If he wanted to leave, the other party could not stop him. Moreover, he had the Xiantian order, so the other party would definitely not dare to touch him. After Luo Yuanshan arrived, he came to Lu Mang Daoist and asked something. Lu Mang Daoist whispered a few times, and Luo Yuanshan frowned even more. He glanced at Lin Xian, then walked over. Seeing this scene, Luo Fifin's mouth curved into a smile. Great, his father personally took action. This kid would definitely die. The people in the surrounding grotto heavens were also relieved. With this devil dead, they would be safe. Hu Renjie and Yi Xiaofeng, who had been crippled, also smiled. They wanted to see the other party die with their own eyes. Both Qin Xianer and Yin Su were extremely nervous. They did not know how Lin Xian would deal with it. Lin Xian looked calm. Although the other party's aura was terrifying, his divine body was strong. However, with his divine body he could still withstand it. He only needed an instant to summon the Grand Sage Tower. At that time, no matter how strong the other party was, he would not be able to hurt him. In the blink of an eye, Luo Yuanshan had already come to Lin Xian's side. Everyone was nervous. Chapter 4501. Luo Yuanshan spoke. Sword maniac young master, I have offended you before. My son Luo Fifin has eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. I hope young master can forgive him. Everyone was stunned. What did they just see? Luo family's patriarch, Luo Yuanshan, was actually apologizing. Are they dreaming? Luo Fifin was even more dumbfounded. What a joke, father, this kid has no background. He is not even from the grotto heaven. Kill him and avenge me. He is really crazy. His father is the patriarch of Luo family. Luo family is one of the 3 major families in Qiankuan ancient city. Their status is extraordinary, and no one dares to provoke them. Especially now they were in their territory. Why should they apologize? He really can't understand. Luo Yuanshan frowned. Stupid thing. I usually cultivate you in vain. He was really mad. The person in front of him has an extraordinary identity. Even if they are from the ancient city, they dare not provoke him. However, his son actually provoked him. If he is not his son, he would have slapped him to death. The other party is an existence that can use the power of reincarnation. In Piamiao Peak, his status is extremely extraordinary. To offend such a person is to offend Piamiao Peak. The strength of Piamiao Peak, their Luo family cannot stop. After the initial madness and shock, Luo Fifin also calmed down. His eyes were filled with fear. He knew that his father is not a coward but an overlord. Devising strategies, turning the hand of the clouds, turning the hand of the rain. Such a person's strength, vision, and knowledge are far from what he can compare. Since his father is so respectful, it shows that the other party is definitely not ordinary. Some things he can't find out at all. This person's identity is above his father. Thinking of this, he was so scared that he almost knelt down. He actually offended such a person. Damn, these idiots in the grotto heaven actually misled him. Those people in the surrounding grotto heaven were even more shocked. They became desperate, one by one kneeling on the ground. Before, they were apologizing and begging for forgiveness. However, later, when Luo Yuanshan came, they became arrogant again, thinking that the other party is dead. But who would have thought that Luo Yuanshan has to treat him with respect? How could this kid be a rogue, cultivator? This guy was definitely hiding his strength. They no longer dared to be arrogant. They all knelt down and kowtowed incessantly, begging for mercy. Lin Xian looked at Luo Yuanshan and said he hoped that the Luo clan would not pass this matter to him. Hearing this, Luo Fifin's face changed. Was he going to deprive him of his status as the young patriarch? He exclaimed, "Father!" "Shut up!" Luo Yuanshan shouted coldly, then looked at Lin Xian. Young master, you're right. I understand. From now on, Luo Fifan was no longer the young lord of the Luo family, nor would he inherit the Luo family. The guards of the Luo clan were all stunned. This was a shocking change. Luo Fifan fell to the ground with a thump. His soul seemed to have disappeared. His most precious identity had been stripped away with a single sentence. I wonder if young master is satisfied? Luo Yuanshan asked again. Lin Xian nodded, then looked at the people in the surrounding grotto heavens. As for these people, I want to cripple their limbs and destroy their cultivations. Do you have any objections? Luo Yuanshan shook his head. He had no objections. It was all up to the young master. Very well. Lin Xian waved his hand, an endless sword Qi cut off the limbs of the grotto heavens experts and destroyed their cultivations. He wanted to turn them into cripples. Screams could be heard, making one's scalp numb. Luo Yuanshan's pupils shrank. This person was young, but he was very decisive. He did not show any mercy to his enemies. Fortunately, he came personally and apologized. Otherwise, the Luo clan would be in danger. Young master, please come to the Luo clan. We'll definitely treat you well and give you a welcome. Luo Yuanshan invited him again. Lin Xian nodded, then looked at Qin Xianer and Yin Su. He said, You two can go back to the Green Hill, Grotto Heaven. As for today's matter, don't worry. If the elders of the Grotto Heavens are not convinced, ask them to come to me. After that, he turned around and led the way. He walked out of the main hall with the Luo clan's members. At the back, Yin Su was stunned. She pinched her face and exclaimed, Who is this young master, Jian Qi? Qin Xianer also sighed and smiled bitterly. I can't see through him anymore. Lin Xian and Yin Su left. What happened here spread, and people from the other grotto heavens rushed over. When they saw their geniuses and experts being crippled, they immediately roared into the sky. Who was it? They had to catch the culprit and tear him into pieces. After an elder of the Luo clan arrived, he said a few words, and the people of the grotto heavens calmed down. The person who attacked was respectfully asked to leave by the Luo clan's head. Moreover, the young clan leader of the Luo clan lost his position as the young clan leader because he offended the culprit. This scene shocked the people of the grotto heavens. They knew that the culprit must be an extraordinary person. It seemed that their disciples were too stupid to offend such a person. They were lucky to be alive. Therefore, they did not dare to talk about revenge. In the following time, more and more experts entered the Qinkuan ancient city. The people of the grotto heavens also restrained their disciples from causing trouble. After all, the news of the first hall of Qinkuan ancient city had spread, and others were shocked. Such an unknown person could very well have a boundless background. If they were to provoke him slightly, the consequences would be unimaginable. Therefore, these people were cautious. In addition, the day of the full moon would arrive soon. At that time, they would be able to find out the true secret of the Qinkuan ancient city. The Luo clan was one of the 3 great clans of the ancient city. The mansion was extremely grand and huge. In a pavilion of the Luo clan, Lin Xian sat cross-legged. The laws on his body flickered, and the surrounding treasures gradually melted and were absorbed by him. Not long after, he opened his eyes, and there was a cold light in his eyes. Buzz! He took out a scroll and looked at it carefully. After arriving, the Luo clan treated him with respect, and he was happy to do so. Moreover, the Luo clan was one of the great clans here, and naturally knew more about the Qinkuan ancient city. Lin Xian asked some questions and learned some secrets. The origin of the Qinkuan ancient city was not ordinary, and could even be said to be extremely shocking. This ancient city was built by a great emperor, the Emperor of Qinkuan. In the ancient times, he was also an extremely terrifying great emperor. The Emperor of Qinkuan had 2 disciples, and they were the Qian Grand Sage and the Kuan Grand Sage. Both of them eventually reached the peak of the great sage realm, but they could not take another step forward and had no fate with the great emperor realm. Even so, they were invincible existences below the great emperor realm. Chapter 4502. These two great sages had once fought for the Qinquan ancient city during the time of the Emperor of Heaven and Earth. The two fought earth-shattering, but in the end, neither could do anything to the other. Thus, they settled down in the Qinquan ancient city. Each occupied half. It was said that later, the Qian supreme sage passed away here, while the Kuan supreme sage left in his later years and eventually disappeared. These legends undoubtedly indicated that there was something incredible buried in the Qinquan ancient city. Otherwise, the two peak great saints would not have fought so fiercely. Perhaps it was really related to the Emperor of Heaven and Earth. After learning this news, Lin Xian was also surprised. This ancient city was related to the Emperor, which meant that he could break through in the Qinquan ancient city. Thinking of this, he was really happy, since he already knew the location of the breakthrough. Then the next step was to find enough resources to break through. Lin Xian took out the map again and looked at it. At the same time, he also took out the bronze key. At this moment, the door opened, and the toad and Little White flew in. Their stomachs were bulging. Obviously, the two of them had eaten endless heaven and earth treasures. The toad was swaying as it walked. It was really too high. This was the first time I was so satisfied. The toad burped as it spoke. Little White couldn't walk any further and jumped into the black earth to sleep. Lin Xian also threw the toad in and then set up the array again. He activated the heavenly secret god eye and carefully looked at the key. Lin Xian poured his power into the bronze key to see if there were any changes. However, at this moment, the entire Qinquan ancient city was stunned. What happened? Countless people were shocked. They all soared into the sky. Did something happen in the Qinquan ancient city again? Everyone felt an old sigh in their ears. What was going on? The situation had happened again. Everyone was shocked. One by one, the powerhouses looked through heaven and earth to investigate. Who was it? Some people in the Qinquan ancient city frowned. It should not be. Today was not the night of the full moon. Why would such a change happen? Lin Xian was also shocked. What a terrifying phenomenon. There was really a sigh. He used the heavenly secret god ability to look around, but did not find out who made it. However, what shocked him even more was that the bronze key in his hand changed again. Countless runes appeared on the surface of the bronze key. They spread out and formed a spirit formation gate. What is this? Lin Xian was stunned. He had never expected such a change. Could it be that the sighing sound was because he had brought the bronze key? Then, was this the place he was looking for? Lin Xian's eyes blossomed with radiance. Without any hesitation, he placed the bronze key into the spirit formation gate and began to rotate it. There was a cracking sound. The spirit formation gate seemed to have been opened. The next moment, the entire Qinquan ancient city started to tremble violently. Everyone in the Qinquan ancient city was startled awake as they soared into the sky. What exactly happened? Heaven and Earth City seemed like it was about to rise from the ground. It couldn't be. Could it be that this ancient city was about to ascend and become a flying immortal? Countless cries of surprise rang out. The Luo family, as one of the three great families of Qinquan ancient city, was naturally alarmed by this scene. The Luo family's patriarch and a group of elders walked out with solemn expressions. Sure enough, a change had occurred, and it had occurred in advance. Everyone prepare yourselves. With a command, the surrounding formations flickered. These experts focused their attention on the situation. Lin Xian also walked out. He floated in the air and carefully sensed the situation. He wondered what kind of change would occur in the end. Outside the Qinquan ancient city, countless people were rushing over. They had arrived relatively late but they were not worried. There were still 5 days until the night of the true full moon. However, when they arrived near the Qiankuan ancient city, they discovered that a change had occurred in front of them. The Qiankuan ancient city rose from the ground as if it was about to ascend. They were anxious and wanted to approach it. However, that enormous power sent them flying. There was even a sage king whose body directly turned into a bloody mist. The others did not dare to approach and could only watch from afar. What was that? They saw a huge palm reaching out from the cracked ground. The palm was extremely huge. It dragged the Qiankuan ancient city and rose from the ground. The ground around the ancient city was constantly cracking open, and a huge canyon appeared. From within the crack, an even larger shadow emerged. It was a city. The Qiankuan ancient city was only a part of it. There was more underground. Countless people were stunned. They rose into the air one after another. At this moment, the area that appeared from underground was twice as large as the previous Qiankuan ancient city. The Qiankuan ancient city was already very large, like a country. At this moment, it had doubled in size. It was truly unimaginable. Did no one notice it before? That palm, whose palm was it? It could actually lift up an ancient city. Countless shocked voices sounded. Inside the Qiankuan ancient city, everyone felt the sky and earth shake. Some of them wanted to escape, but they were also forced back by that force. Soon they also discovered it. Some people stood at the edge of the city wall, but at this moment, a new area appeared in front of them. It had just come out of the ground. There was soil on it and a lot of gravel scattered all over the ground. What was going on? Countless people were surprised. Those families that had originally lived in the Qiankuan ancient city were even more shocked. They did not expect that the city that they had lived in for countless years would actually hide a part of it. Now it had truly appeared. Not only that, they felt an extremely mysterious and terrifying aura burst out from the ancient city. These new areas were not simple at all. It seemed that the secret was in these new areas. Countless people took a deep breath. When the shaking calmed down, they were ready to move out and investigate. Lin Xian was also incomparably surprised. He did not expect it to be like this. He had the heavenly secret divine eye and could see through everything. He saw a gigantic palm stretching out from the ground. However, he was unable to investigate those areas that had just appeared. It seemed that there were mysterious runes blocking everything. It seemed that he could only go there personally to investigate. After a long time, the Qiankuan ancient city stopped shaking and gradually calmed down. An aura surged in all directions. Let's go. Some people couldn't wait any longer and flew off in all directions. It seemed that they wanted to investigate. Lin Xian also took a deep breath. He looked at the toad and said, "Let's go and take a look too." The toad could not wait any longer. When it heard this, it instantly jumped out. "I'm here to hunt for treasures." Its strange cry sounded between heaven and earth. These new city areas were very cold. It was unknown whether it was because they had been buried under the ground for countless years or because of other special reasons. It gave people a creepy feeling. The ground was black, and the surrounding buildings had endless runes on them. Although they were simple and dim, the aura that was emitted was still shocking. It was truly a mysterious place. Chapter 4503. Buzz. On the deserted street, 2 figures suddenly appeared. It was Lin Xian and the toad. They came to this new area and looked around curiously. "Something is wrong. We have to be careful." The toad doesn't dare to be careless either. Lin Xian nodded. Indeed, this was an ancient city built by the great emperor himself. Who knew what terrifying things there were? At this time, more than a dozen figures rushed over from behind. They were disciples of the Grotto Heaven, ancient race, and even native clans of Qiankuan ancient city. After they arrived, they also looked around curiously. No one looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian changed his appearance. These people didn't recognize him. In addition, Lin Xian's aura wasn't strong, so these people ignored him. There were so many buildings here. There might be treasures inside. Let's go check it out. 3 silhouettes flew forward. There was a pavilion in front of them. It was 7 stories high and looked very simple. The 3 of them came to the front and smashed the door with one palm. Then they walked in. The others also took a deep breath and prepared to move. At this moment, a scream suddenly came from the pavilion that they had entered earlier. Then, Saint Blood flew out. There was even the sound of bones breaking. What happened? Everyone here was an expert. The weakest was a half-step Saint King. At this moment, they felt their hair stand on end. Was there anyone else in this area? It shouldn't be. Even Lin Xian was surprised. Someone had come earlier than him. He frowned. His eyes flashed as he looked forward. The next moment, his pupils shrank. The others exclaimed and took 3 steps back. They were all facing a great enemy. From the broken pavilion, a figure rushed out. It was one of the 3 people who went in. At this moment, he was covered in blood. Half of his body had disappeared. His internal organs were shattered. Demon! There was a demon inside. Run. Demon? Everyone was taken aback. Before they could react, they saw a pitch-black hand grabbing onto the doorframe. Then a figure walked out. It was a black figure. It was very ferocious. There were barbs on its body. It looked like a demon beast. His eyes were incomparably blood-red. Furthermore, they were extremely large. They took up nearly half of his entire face. The remaining half was a bloody mouth with sharp fangs that were comparable to a saint weapon. He looked extremely ferocious, like a demon that had crawled out from hell. At this moment, Saint Blood was dripping from the bloody mouth, as well as some bones that had yet to be swallowed. Clearly, these were the bodies of the 2 people from before. Was it actually eaten by the other party? The faces of the surrounding people were extremely ugly. Roar! With a roar, the ferocious black, demonic figure jumped out and crushed the escaping expert with a stomp. That person was a half-step Saint King, but at this moment his body was crushed by this foot. Then his blood was swallowed by the ferocious, demonic shadow on his back. Roar! His blood-red eyes emitted an even more terrifying light. He roared at the sky, and a boundless blood aura filled the air. At the same time, deep roars could be heard from the surrounding buildings. No way could there be more than one. The surrounding people were stunned. They saw a pair of scarlet eyes shining through the cracks of the buildings. Boom, boom, boom. Then there was the sound of something breaking through the air. The windows of the buildings were torn apart, and then all the black, demonic shadows flew out. Some of them were in human form, standing and walking. Some were like demonic beasts running on all 4s. Some even had black tails and black wings. But without exception, all of them had blood-red eyes and ferocious faces. The surrounding people's faces were extremely ugly. They had originally come to search for treasures. But who would have thought that this new area would have so many terrifying things? Even Lin Xian furrowed his brows. Could it be that all these things had been sealed under the ground before, now that they had been opened for some strange reason? He was very suspicious now. What exactly was this key that he had obtained? Could it be that it would release countless terrifying demons? Terrifying demonic shadows appeared around them. There were nearly 50 of them, and they firmly surrounded Lin Xian and the others. At this moment, there was already a shocking collision in the distant area, and there were also screams. Someone exclaimed. It seemed that they were not the only place. Other places also had such demonic shadows. There was even a huge battle, and some people had already fallen. Let's do it, Lin Xian roared. He stomped his foot and slashed out with his sword. The toad roared, "Get out of my way." His voice turned into sound waves that swept in all directions. The surrounding void continued to shatter as the earth rumbled under the impact of the collision. However, this building was personally built by the great emperor, so it would not be destroyed. But it was still shaking violently. Hurry up and do it. After Lin Xian, made his move, the surrounding powerhouses of the grotto heavens and families also made their moves. They had all been through hundreds of battles to cultivate to this level. Even though he had been scared stiff earlier, his counterattack was extremely sharp and fierce at this moment. There were only a dozen of them, but they managed to stop the demonic shadows. Their cooperation was also getting better and better. Of course, there were also people who were injured in the process. One of them even had half of his body torn apart. Although these guys were strange and mysterious, they were not very strong. We can still handle it. The toad also heaved a sigh of relief. Lin Xian frowned because he felt that the first one that appeared was blocking him. The strength of this one was more terrifying than the others. That pair of blood-red eyes made him feel extremely uncomfortable. But soon he sneered. "Want to attack me? You must be tired of living." Golden light burst out from his eyes, and the soul sword flew out. The pupils of the other party's blood-red eyes shrank. His soul was severely injured. In the next moment, he let out a shrill roar. Many people were bleeding from their 7 orifices, and their ears were about to burst. He crazily charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian was stunned. He was still alive? That shouldn't be. With his soul power and the heavenly secret god eyes, this attack would definitely shatter the other party's soul. Even if he didn't die, he would have lost the power to resist. However, the other party still charged over. Moreover, his aura did not weaken. What was going on with these guys? Lin Xian frowned. His body swayed, and he dodged the other party's attack. Then he kicked out. It collided with the other party's huge demonic claw, and an earth-shattering sound was heard. The demonic shadow was sent flying and crashed into a wall in the distance. This guy was so strong. When the experts from the surrounding grotto heavens saw that Lin Xian had forced his opponent to retreat with a single blow, they were shocked beyond words. They felt that the other party was only a holy venerable. Where did this genius come from? Lin Xian's expression was ugly. When he was approaching just now, he used the heavenly secret god eyes to check. These demonic shadows did not seem to have souls. No wonder they ignored his heavenly secret godchild. Without souls, the eye technique was useless. His kick just now had shattered the other party's claw, but no blood flowed out. This made him feel even more strange. Chapter 4504. In front of them, the huge demonic shadow was injured. It was extremely angry and roared as it charged over. Its blood-red eyes caused a red light to appear on its body. Another grab. This attack was even more terrifying than the previous one. Lin Xian snorted coldly and used the man-ruler seal to send the other party flying. The broken body was torn apart and scattered all over the ground as if it had turned into sand. Go! Lin Xian waved the man-ruler seal and sent all the demonic shadows flying like a peerless god of war. On the toad side, 2 of them were also sent flying. The 2 of them directly broke out of the encirclement and soared into the sky. Good opportunity, let's go. Behind them, the experts of the grotto heavens saw this scene and rushed over. However, in the next moment, they were swallowed up by even more demonic shadows. There were even 2 of them who were directly swallowed as food. Lin Xian and the others were about to leave when Xiao Bai jumped out and pointed at the pagoda. There seems to be something inside. Unfortunately, I can't get it out of my treasure bowl. Hearing this, the toad was also stunned. Then it said, "Kid, the thing that Xiao Bai is talking about must be something good." Lin Xian was also surprised. He looked at the pagoda and directly went to the 7th floor. He smashed the window with a palm. After the 3 of them entered, they discovered that there was actually a skeleton sitting there. There was no flesh on it, but there was a heart in his hand. It was the will of a sage king, and it seemed to be the will of a peak sage king. The toad exclaimed, "This thing contained endless, great Tao of heaven and earth." It was very helpful for one's comprehension of the great Tao. Lin Xian's eyes lit up instantly. He had obtained the will of a sage king before, and it was indeed helpful to the great Tao. He didn't expect to encounter such a thing here this time. Kid, hurry up and take it away. The toad couldn't wait. However, at this moment, there was the sound of wind breaking behind them. In an instant, the void behind them was torn apart, and they were nearby. A powerful aura suppressed everything. The toad was stunned. Lin Xian also turned his head to look. Many figures descended from the sky and floated in the void. These people had lofty horns on their heads and wings of laws on their backs. When they flapped their wings, they brought about a strange storm of laws. Lin Xian from the flying feather grotto heaven frowned slightly. The law wings on his back were the symbol of the flying feather grotto heaven. The man in the lead had a pair of green laws behind his back. Great Tao interweaved on the wings, making them look extremely mysterious. Right now he was standing in the air, his eyes able to see through everything. He looked at the heart of the Sage King with a smile on his face. Looks like my luck is pretty good. I've just arrived, and I've already found a good treasure. In other words, it seemed that the Sage King's will was already his. What was the meaning of this? Are you blind? Can't you see that we're here first? The toad snorted coldly. These people were too arrogant. No, they were too arrogant. A toad dares to be arrogant in front of us? Get out of here. Someone stood out and shouted coldly. This person exuded the aura of a sage ruler. F***CK. Do you believe that I won't slap you to death? The toad was also enraged. Lin Xian looked ahead. In front of him, there were a total of 12 figures. Among them, there were actually 5 to 6 figures who had reached the Sage King realm, especially the one in the lead. His aura was extremely cold. He was an extremely terrifying existence in the early stage of the Sage King realm. Such a powerful team could indeed suppress everything. But to meet him, I'm afraid it's not enough. You're courting death. The Sage King who stood out roared angrily. The fiery red wings on his back directly slashed down. Like a flaming heavenly blade, it slashed towards the toad. The people from the other grotto heavens also laughed. A toad! It couldn't even withstand a single blow. The toad was furious. He didn't dodge and directly jumped up. Divine Toad Palm. He slapped out his claws and hit the flaming wings, causing the wings to tremble and dim. The flames on them were extinguished. The Sage King retreated and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was filled with shock. The people around him also couldn't believe it. Could it be that this toad was a Sage King realm beast? Damn it, the injured Sage King still wanted to attack. He was simply embarrassed to be injured by a toad. But at this moment, the leader, Qing Ci, waved his hand and stopped him. Junior brother, don't be rude. The injured Sage King could only grit his teeth and stop unwillingly. Qing Ci raised his head and looked at the toad, then looked at Lin Xian. The corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. I'm Qing Ci. These are all my fellow disciples. We're from the flying feather grotto heaven. Can the two of you give me face and leave this place? Give me the Sage King's will. Although it was a discussion, his words were unquestionable. The people behind him also laughed. They had such a powerful lineup, 5 Sage Kings. As long as the other party wasn't a fool, they definitely wouldn't attack again. You want us to give up with just a few words? The toad was furious. Come, come, come. I'll teach you how to be a person. He wanted to attack. However, Lin Xian held him down and then smiled. All right, I'll give it to you. What's going on? The toad was stunned. Are you sure? This wasn't Lin Xian's style. Lin Xian smiled mysteriously and then sent a voice transmission. Let's go. It's not safe here. Let them attack first. After the toad heard this, it immediately grinned. Good boy. So the mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Interesting. The toad snorted coldly. Today I'll give in to you. After speaking, he directly jumped out. Lin Xian's figure also swayed, and he soared into the sky. However, Little White, who was on his shoulder, had already disappeared. Very good. The corners of Qing Si's mouth curled up into a smile. The others also smiled. As expected, with such a powerful lineup, no one dared to fight against them. The group of people landed on the 7th floor of the pagoda, looking at the Sage Kings while in front of them. Their eyes emitted a fiery red light. At this moment, Qing Si said, "Junior brothers, this Sage King's will, can you give it to me? As for your losses, I'll use other treasures to compensate you." The pupils of the 2 Sage Kings constricted. A hint of unwillingness appeared in their eyes. This was also a very important thing to them. It was very helpful to their comprehension of the great Tao. However, the other 3 Sage Kings smiled and said, "Of course, we won't fight with senior brother Qing Si." The other half-step Sage Kings naturally didn't dare to say anything. The 2 Sage Kings looked at each other and sighed. They didn't resist. Forget it. After thinking about it, the other party would probably use other treasures to make up for their losses after returning. "Thank you, junior brothers. I won't stand on ceremony." There was a satisfied smile on Qing Si's face. He flew to the front and grabbed towards the Sage King's will. He was about to grab it. However, at this moment, a blood-red light suddenly burst out from the white bone's eye sockets. Immediately after, the bones in his body cracked, and a black claw slapped over. Chapter 4505. Boom! The sky fell and the earth cracked. Qing Si was pierced through. His heart had been crushed. He was severely injured. Damn it, there was a trap. Oh no, help senior brother. The others shouted angrily and attacked with their divine abilities. They attacked the Black Claw. The claw tore open the void, and a demonic shadow walked out again. With a roar, he charged out. Damn it, kill him for me. Qing Si shouted angrily. The treasure was right in front of him, but he fell into a trap. He couldn't stand it. His broken heart healed, and his body emitted a green light. A wind blade flew out and swept through the 9 heavens. He attacked aggressively, and at the same time he looked at the white bone that was sitting cross-legged. This he cried out in surprise. The Holy King's will in the white bone palm was swept away by a white light and disappeared. Damn it! Where do you think you're going? He attacked the void with a terrifying wind thorn. However, it hit nothing but the void. The white figure had long disappeared, and the Holy King's will disappeared at the same time. Damn it, was it snatched away? Damn it! Who was it? Qing Si roared. He felt that he had been tricked. He wanted to find out who dared to plot against him. However, the black storm rushed over and turned into claws that covered the sky, enveloping him. He could only fight with all his strength. This time, the black demonic shadow was unusually terrifying. However, they had more people, and 5 Holy Kings were still able to deal with it. However, at this moment, another low roar was heard. Then, another palm stretched out from the white bone, and a second demonic shadow appeared. Oh no! Qing Si and the others were in despair. They were afraid that they were in danger with 2 demonic shadows. To their surprise, the second demonic shadow only let out a roar and tore open the void and disappeared. In the distant void, Lin Xian and the toad stood there and waited. Little White returned with the Holy King's will in his hand. Great! Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. The toad also laughed heartily. Little guy, well done! Little White's big eyes narrowed into crescent moons. Boom! Suddenly, a palm shattered the void and enveloped him. Little White disappeared instantly, and when he reappeared, he was already on Lin Xian's shoulder. Who is it? Lin Xian roared. The toad also roared. Who is it? You dare to hit something that this great master has his eyes on. The 2 of them looked ahead. The void in front of him shattered, and a black, demonic figure walked out again. Not good. They actually chased after him. Damn it, aren't these guys too strong? Lin Xian frowned. The toad was also astonished. Brat, be careful. This one seemed to be even more terrifying than the previous ones. Lin Xian took a deep breath and let Little White enter the great sage tower first. His eyes shone with an extremely cold light. Streaks of golden light emerged from his body, as if he had transformed into the sun war god. Roar! The demonic shadow in front didn't say anything. It opened its mouth and roared. A black storm flew towards Lin Xian. It turned into a crescent of light and descended from the sky. Fight! Lin Xian coldly harumphed. He formed a seal with his palm, the man-ruler seal, and slapped out. At the same time, in the surroundings, the 10 ultimate sword formation was activated. The sword lights that filled the sky poured down like a rainstorm. The toad also moved out. Divine Toad Pomshi was like a ghost attacking from behind. With a clang, she slapped the other party's back, causing the other party to tremble and almost fall. Only some cracks appeared on the other party's body, but it didn't shatter. F*CK so strong? The toad was surprised. This guy had the cultivation of a mid-stage Holy King. The toad had also reached the Holy King realm. An ordinary early stage Holy King would definitely be torn apart under this palm. But the other party withstood it. Lin Xian frowned. The man-ruler seal hit the other party's body and sent him flying. Cracks also appeared on the other party's body, but it didn't shatter. The demonic figure roared, and a terrifying red light burst out from his eyes. At the same time, there was a black aura in his body that spread out. The surrounding void kept shattering. How terrifying! This guy could actually increase his strength. The toad exclaimed, "What the hell was this?" Lin Xian said that it wasn't demonic qi. He had the great destruction spear, so he could naturally feel the powerful demonic qi. This wasn't demonic qi. Instead, it was a bit like his law of death. What the other party used was a cold aura of death. Boom! A terrifying vibration sounded, and a wave of power swept out. Lin Xian used his divine body to block. The toad was blown away and cried out in pain. F*CK, it hurt so much. Kid, hurry up and kill him. Buzz! Lin Xian's figure swayed, and the great Tao spread under his feet. Endless sword shadows appeared in his hand. Sword qi overflowed, and 10 types of law swept through everything. It completely destroyed that terrifying aura of death. Buzz! The demonic figure was forced back, and he roared again and again. An extremely terrifying light burst out from his red eyes. He flew out and charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian blocked. With a clang, the sword qi shook and he was forced back. His entire arm was numb. Humph! Lin Xian was completely enraged. He slapped out with the man-ruler seal, and a terrifying power slammed into the other party's body. The demonic figure was sent flying. Before he could stand up, a huge mountain pressed down from the sky. The mountain-embracing seal had completely suppressed the other party. It was settled. The toad flew over. This kid was good. His strength was getting stronger and stronger. He could even suppress a mid-stage Holy King. However, Lin Xian frowned. He realized that something was wrong. Although he held the mountain and suppressed the other party roared crazily. The power in his body surged as if he was going to carry the ancient mountain. With a roar, the ground split open and the void shattered. The ancient demonic mountain was actually carried by him. Too strong. The difference in strength between a mid-stage Holy King and an early-stage Holy King was more than 10 times. A mid-stage Holy King could kill an early-stage Holy King with a single punch. He had absolute strength to suppress. Only Lin Xian had the great dragon sword soul, and the divine body could cross 2 realms to contend against him. But even so, he couldn't immediately suppress the other party. The demonic figure was truly incomparably terrifying. The toad's scalp also went numb. He thought of something and said with a pale face, "Damn it, This couldn't be something from the 9 nether underworld, right? What do you know? Lin Xian asked. As the toad dodged, it said, let's deal with him first. I know. This guy's defense is very strong. I'll break through his defense later. Take the opportunity to attack his vital points. You must shatter his body. Lin Xian waved his hand. The dragon roared in his body, and the dragon-shaped sword energy flew out. It could destroy everything. The demonic figure's body was strong, but under the dragon's sword chi, cracks appeared. There was no blood, but it was indeed shocking. The toad seized the opportunity and used it crazily. Divine Toad Fist. His body grew larger, turning into a huge monster. With a palm, he blasted the other party into pieces. Under the attacks of the two, they finally killed the other party. Who? It was finally settled. The toad's body was like a mountain. It quickly shrank and finally became the size of a palm. It jumped up again. It really wasn't easy. If you didn't have the great dragon sword soul, it would be very troublesome to kill this thing. Chapter 4506. Lin Xian also frowned slightly. These things were too troublesome. Not only were there many of them, but they were also very powerful. The slightest carelessness could lead to death. His guess was right. Many geniuses and experts had already died in other places. Fortunately, although it was dangerous, their harvest was quite bountiful. Lin Xian summoned Little White. Little White held the sage monarch's will and squinted its eyes. Lin Xian took it and slashed out with sword chi, splitting the sage monarch's will into 3 pieces. He took 1 piece and gave the other 2 to the toad and Little White. Lin Xian held the piece of sage monarch's will and asked while absorbing it, Toad, what do you know? What is the 9 nether underworld you mentioned? I think you should have heard of it when you were in the true spirit world. The human realm, the underworld, and the heavenly court. You have already seen the human realm. The underworld and the heavenly court are the other 2 mysterious existences. They are not weaker than the human realm. They had existed since ancient times. No one knew exactly where they were, and no one knew who was in their organization. We only know that they are spread throughout the universe. Lin Xian was shocked. He had naturally heard of it. When he was in the true spirit world, he had also encountered the underworld and was killed by assassins. He just didn't expect to encounter the underworld again. The buried Emperor's star was truly mysterious. The human realm was here, and the underworld had also appeared here. Furthermore, it had appeared in the Qinkuan ancient city. What was the connection between the two? The toad knew more. He said that the human realm was in charge of the heavenly punishment. You should have experienced this. Lin Xian nodded. He was called the person abandoned by the heavens. Every time he broke through, a blood-colored, heavenly punishment would descend, wanting to destroy his soul. And these people had connections with the human realm. Therefore, the human realm was in charge of the heavenly punishment. What did the underworld control? The toad took a deep breath. The underworld controlled reincarnation. Reincarnation. He had seen the power of reincarnation before. The reincarnation protector, who controlled the passage, and the ethereal peak's reincarnation power seemed to be related to reincarnation. Lin Xian said, Could it be that the underworld and the ethereal peak are related? I am not sure, but I don't think it's a big deal. Although the power of reincarnation was rare, it was not under the control of any single power. Most importantly, it was controlled by hell. As for the other powers of reincarnation, they might seem formidable in the eyes of ordinary people. However, in the eyes of top-tier powerful beings, they were nothing more than some trump cards. Things were getting more and more interesting. The toad was like an old monster with a mysterious smile. Lin Xian asked, What else are you hiding? The toad said, Do you know what the main force behind divine punishment and samsara is? Lin Xian was stunned. Could it be the heavenly punishment sword and the samsara sword? The toad nodded. That's right. There must be the heavens punishment sword behind the human world, and there should be the reincarnation sword behind the underworld. Of course, I'm not sure if it's the complete heaven punishment sword and samsara sword. After all, there had been a terrifying battle in the past. In that battle, even the great dragon sword was broken, and the great dragon sword's soul was scattered. The samsara sword and the heavenly punishment sword were probably also badly damaged. When Lin Xian heard this, he was shocked. Just what kind of battle could cause such a divine sword to be damaged? He only had the great dragon sword soul now, and the great dragon sword was still missing. From what the toad said, it seemed to have been damaged. Could it be a battle between great emperors? He was asking, but the toad shook its head and said, I'm not sure either. It was too long ago. Ah, look, he's going to disappear. At this moment, Little White pointed at the dismembered body in front of them and shouted. Lin Xian and the toad turned their heads to look. They saw that the demonic shadow that they had broken was slowly healing. Then its body gradually grew bigger. There was a millstone-like thing that seemed to be absorbing it. Kid, leave it behind. Who knows? You might be able to find a trace of the secret of reincarnation. The toad shouted. Lin Xian used the great dragon sword soul. Sword Qi swept across, cutting through the void and destroying the power of reincarnation. He formed a sword domain and enveloped the demonic shadow. Since this thing was related to reincarnation, and Lin Xian's heavenly secret child prodigy had absorbed the power of reincarnation, he was going to try and see if he could control this demonic shadow. His heavenly secret divine eyes shone brightly, and terrifying runes appeared. The power of reincarnation sprinkled down and enveloped the demonic shadow. The demonic shadow struggled in pain. Its eyes were red as if blood was about to drip out. In the end, it was still controlled by Lin Xian. How magical! Lin Xian was surprised. If it were anyone else, they could use the heavenly secret divine eyes to attack. However, this demonic shadow seemed to have no blood or soul. Therefore, he could only use the power of reincarnation to control it. Attack! Lin Xian ordered. The demonic shadow roared and tore open the sky with its claws, shattering the void in front of it. That's great. Lin Xian smiled. This was equivalent to a powerful battle servant. This time, many experts from the Grotto Heavens and the ancient race had come. The people from Misty Peak would come too. They would meet sooner or later. Those people were experts and had brought many battle servants. If they really met them, it would be very troublesome. If they were surrounded, it would be even more dangerous. However, he was not worried now. With such a demonic shadow as a battle servant, would he be afraid of the experts from the other Grotto Heavens? Besides, there were so many demonic shadows here. If he controlled a few more, they would be courting death if they competed with him in terms of numbers. Let's go. With a wave of his hand, Lin Xian put away the demonic shadow. They turned into streams of light and disappeared into the sky. On a deserted street, 8 figures combined to form a formation. Beside them, there were layers of mountain shadows that seemed to be suppressing heaven and earth. Terrifying laws of power surged out, causing the surrounding void to shatter continuously. Inside the formation, there were 2 demonic shadows that roared at the sky. Their power was very strong. Every time they attacked, the formation would tremble. It was in danger of shattering at any time. Nearby, there was another figure dressed in white. She carried an ancient sword on her back and had a beautiful face. At this moment, she was staring at an empty hall in front of her. There was a sage king's that was undulating. Senior sister Xue Qi, hurry up. We can't hold on any longer. A woman among the people who formed the formation spoke while gritting her teeth. These people were from the 1,000-mountain Grotto Heaven. The beautiful woman who carried an ancient sword on her back was Xue Qi. She nodded and didn't hesitate. Her body flickered and turned into ice. She instantly entered the hall. She looked at the Sage King's that was floating there and waved her hand. Roar! At this moment, another crazy roar echoed out. A demonic shadow tore apart the void and charged out. It had appeared suddenly, and it came next to Shui-Chi. Its sharp claws seemed capable of tearing apart everything. Shui-Chi snorted coldly, and black frost appeared on her body. It sealed the whole world. The whole hall was sealed in ice, and the demonic shadow was also frozen. Shui-Chi grabbed the Sage King's will and retreated quickly. When she had just left the hall, the demonic shadow broke free from the ice and charged out. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.